Football has always had its place on Anzac Day. A celebration of the society we enjoy thanks to the sacrifices of the past.
It's the ceremony that binds the generations of Australia now to the game, which serves a purpose on the same front.
An afternoon that begins in solemn silence and erupts to the joy of the big game.
Siren! What a game!
For 20 years now, Collingwood and Essendon have been entrusted with the showpiece. From the christening draw...
4 seconds left, the kick flag, red ball. There's the siren! Unbelievable!
They've become a subset of matches on an elevated plane.
Collingwood lead by a point. Beautiful steered pass on the 50. Zaharakis, first-year player, snaps and goals and puts the Bombers in front.
Those who play feel both the honour and the tributes.
And well done to the crowd and the Anzac spirit. Well done.
And those that watch are bound by the shared and treasured experience that is Anzac Day at the MCG.
So now Cloak starting from outside the boundary. Goes the banana off the left. Oh, miracle goal.
Gambleton received it from Wenderlich. Long to goal. The Bombers are on the board.
No mark, but it goes goalwards. And Blair goes off the ground. Sockers the goal that puts the Pies in front.
Siren sounds. Essendon have come from nowhere. They have stolen Anzac Day 2009. David Zaharakis, with his first goal in league footy, has made himself a hero in front of 84,000.
Anzac Day footy.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio, online and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
Good afternoon and welcome to the MCG on the most perfect Melbourne afternoon in anticipation of all that this day has come to represent and offer to some 90,000 people who'll experience it firsthand. And wherever you are around the country or around the world, welcome to Grandstand AFL to share it all with us. Gerard Waitley with you, and Drew Morford is with me, and it was beautiful during the week, Drew, to relive that first Anzac Day encounter between Essendon and Collingwood and hear your call of it again.
Well, I don't care what modern coaches say. That was one of the greatest games of footy played. The fact that it was the first in the tradition of Collingwood and Essendon, and they played a draw. The full forward kicked 9. What would we do now for a full forward to kick 9 in a game, for goodness sake? It was just sensational. I was lucky to be involved then, to start this bit of a tradition, and it still tingles me every time. It's in many ways better than the grand final, because the grand final you get the Chardonnay set, but this game, 50-50 it will be the crowd, and it'll be ball, man, and I'm going to love it.
When you can cast the memory back to 20 years ago, when you put back inside at watching it, can you remember the feeling at the end of the day that this was the birth of something big?
Definitely. And I was at Channel 7 at the time. It didn't go live anywhere because it was a replay station at the time. And it was due to go to air, the replay, at about 11 o'clock at night. But the result was that phenomenal. It was supposed to be edited highlights to last an hour or something. The result was that phenomenal, they decided to put it on in full. So the moment when it was a drawn game went to air at about 1 o'clock in the morning. But fortunately, it's been replayed many, many times since, so it does live on. And it was just a cracking game.
I think this is our 10th together. Do you know how many of the 20 you would have done?
I never count, but maybe 15.
Yeah. They're great. They are their own subset of matches now, aren't they?
Yep. And look, I remember a game on Anzac Day, the first season I did VFL footy as it was at the time, 1977. I came, I think it was round 4, and Richmond played Collingwood. There were 92,000 here, because games were played before these two teams took it on. Richmond played Collingwood. It just so happened it was Tom Hafey's first game coaching against his beloved Richmond. And 92,000 turned up. And I'm this wide-eyed kid from Western Australia, about 4 games into my first season doing VFL footy. I thought, how big is this? This is massive.
We've got David Parkin with us, who's got such a continuation with football, and you've watched this tradition grow from a man who had an involvement in the game with rival teams at the time to an observer with us as a commentator. David, welcome.
Thanks.
both of you for being here today. I haven't been in all of these or to all these games, and certainly haven't participated in this way. But the more you think about it, the more we understand that the game itself has contributed to, I think, somewhat of a revival in terms of our society's view of Anzac Day and the significance of it. And I think football should be very proud that it's been able through, I guess Kevin Sheedy was the maybe instigator of this initially and convinced the AFL to bring them together. And I've obviously got interest in two other clubs and not the two that I think it would be sad if they in fact broke the tradition. I know there's great debate about who should be playing this game, but I believe that these two clubs have come together and over the last 20 years have shown that they are the two that have the right to be leading the way. So I get pretty emotional. I had a father who fought in New Guinea, and in fact I did the New Guinea walk like a lot of other people do in honour of my dad. And so I think it's a day I was up. I didn't go this year. I went last year to the dawn service, but I watched it from the start this morning. Still moves me. I still get teary and emotional about it. And the Lest We Forget theme is being supremely carried, I think, by the kind of activities we do at the Shrine, and then followed up with this wonderful game of football.
Do you remind yourself of do you have keepsakes at home? Do you have medals? Or
I have my father. Yes,
Yep.
I have my father's medals, and they are strung where I can see them, and it is significant. He didn't fight on the track at Kokoda, but I went into the country and he was an anti-aircraft gunner at Weewak, and we latter part of his life. I think a lot of men in that era didn't share, but I must admit, when Dad got into his 80s and we spent considerable time when he was ill at the finish, and we talked about those times, vivid memories. I'm not so sure why they weren't shared before that, but once talked about the mates that he had, lifelong mates that he went to war with, that became his closest friends throughout the remainder of his life. So I can understand if you've been away and you've served, whether it's in one of the three forces, how meaningful it is with the people that you shared that experience.
Gerard, just a quick memory of my father, who was bald, and he served in the Middle East, and he said, my baldness comes around from bullets flying over my head, and I was in the trenches and I was ducking bullets. He was actually in the engineers. He was an architect, and he designed mess huts, and I think they were all square. He could have designed them in 1 minute. Anyway, there you go.
A man who knows this game intimately, having played in it on 5 occasions, Adam Ramanauskas is with us for the afternoon. Rama, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Look, it's just a great day. I think, the game is almost the end point, I think, really, to it all. And I agree with Parko here. The two clubs, and also the late Bruce Ruxton too, the leader of the RSL, I think were obviously significant in getting this game together. But it's grown from strength to strength. And I think the way the two clubs respect the day, it's not about the game of football, it's about the actual day. And I think the way the two teams have also played the game in great spirit is fantastic. But being involved, I know particularly with Sheeds, the week was very different. We had a number of people who would come in and out of the club to talk to us. We had a lot of old war veterans, a lot of current war veterans. We had Peter Fitzsimons come in and talk all about his stories there. But it is different. It's a different game. Outside a grand final, it's the most significant, the loudest, the highest pressure, the most intense game that I've played in, and they're generally always close. I can only remember 1 or 2 blowouts in this game. During the week on Fox Footy, they had the 95 game, Drew, which you were calling. It was good to hear your voice.
Great game.
But that's what set it off. I wonder if that would have been different if there was a 10-goal margin that day. But it was a draw that day. It was a fantastic contest. But like I said, the game is almost just the end piece to the day now. What happens before it, what happens during the week is so special.
So you played for the first time in it in 2000, yes. And you would have been a kid then. Did you know what you were walking into?
No. And really, that game in 2000 was obviously the first time that I played in front of more than 90,000 people. So when I ran out there, I've just gone, whoa, what's going on here? And Joe Mercedes grabbed me, who's a good friend of mine, and said, just relax. It's a long build-up. There's still a lot of things we have to go through before the actual ball bounces. So have a look around, take in the atmosphere, but don't get anxious, don't get nervous, because he said a lot of guys will get fidgety and want to start playing the game. So you go through the last post, standing out there. If you ever walked out on the MCG when there's nobody in here, that's the feeling. But you've got 95,000 people just dead silent, and it's an unbelievable experience to be out there. And in all honesty, when I was out there for the times that I played, I was very reflective in those times, and because of the lessons that we had learned during the week, what Sheeds was willing to teach the club. It wasn't, necessarily, there was we might have had one meeting that week about tactics. The rest of the week was about, okay, let's talk about the Anzac spirit and what it meant. And you turn that around, and there's always a message in it, about camaraderie, about teamwork, about friendship. And you didn't realise at the time, but that's what he wanted us to be as a team and as a group of young men. So I'm fortunate that I had a coach that was able to provide those experiences for me.
You played in it in the last time in 2008. Is it one of the most tangible things that you miss?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look, today, there's not a lot that I do miss about football, but today is one of those days, and then finals. Other than that, I had my turn, I had my time, and I love the experiences I got out of football. But, there's a young boy today running around, Zach Merritt, who he's played a couple of games, but he'll get the opportunity to experience all those emotions today. And it's always a great test. And Mark Harvey would always say you could always tell a good play if they could stand up on occasions like these, if they could, take in the atmosphere, if they could eliminate the emotion of the day and stand up on a day like this.
And going through the first one in 1990 for you, did it help you win the grand final? Having
2000?
Gone?
Yeah. Oh, look, I think to be able to play in a game like that, yeah. When we got to the final season, there were big crowds again, and we played Carlton late in that season as well, where we had another big crowd. Yeah, look, they are significant moments in a player's career where they do. I remember the 2001 more than I remember the last one that I played in. It's really hard. It's quite hard to describe. It's a different game of football. It's not your normal build-up. It's not your normal in the rooms and come out and run out. It's a significant day in Australia's calendar. Why you're out there. You're respectful, and you're so mindful of what's happening around you.
You mentioned Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt is the first player to line up on Anzac Day who wasn't born when the first of these matches were played. So he's an 18-year-old who wasn't born when Drew started this tradition for us 20 years ago.
So I'm calling it 4 generations younger than
we have a special guest with us in the box throughout the day. Captain Anthony Davis is from the 2nd Combat Engineering Regiment in Brisbane, so serves in the Army. Captain Anthony Davis, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Jared. It's a pleasure to be here on such a fantastic day for us.
It's our honour to have you here. Tell us what your morning has entailed.
So I've travelled across from, done the dawn service and travelled across from Adelaide. So paid the respects this morning that, most Australians do and get up early. As you know, it is a significant day for the Australian Army and, of course, the Australian Defence Force. And it really helps us to, reflect and see what our ancestors have done and the ones that have gone before us and what we shape our, day-to-day work on. Today's the sort of day that really brings us all in together and forms that body that we all want to be.
You are a relatively young man. How tangible is the link to the generations past when you're in the service?
So I've actually got an elder brother still serving. My grandfather served as well. So for me personally, there's also the family ties. But even just being in the service, and you get a lot of mates who also have the same sort of ties, and everyone's sort of got that link back to the First and Second World Wars, and even Vietnam as well. So it's fantastic to have that sort of group of blokes around you serving on a day-to-day basis, and also there's people out in the public that have the same relations as well. It's not just the guys serving. So we don't try and put ourselves on a pedestal at all. We just today's the day to really reflect on the service that's been done before us, more so than today.
You bring us the connection between the Defence Forces and football. We met a couple of weeks ago when the Defence Force Carnival was on, and the culmination of that is on Sunday at the Adelaide Oval, where a representative team of yours will play a representative team from the emergency services. And we found during the week it was put forward some vision from 1916 of an armed services game between the 3rd Australian Regiment and Australian servicemen. When you saw that, does that give you... I mean, that is a really tangible link through the generation.
Yeah, it really is that chilling type feeling. You sort of see that vision and think, 99 years on, or, as we reach the centenary, we're still playing the same game, and we all still love the same game that they did back when they were playing. So, and to see the military, associated with football back then, and to see it continually develop is exactly what we're after, and that's why we all feel so honoured to be involved with the ADF All-Stars and also the National Carnival from a couple of weeks ago.
So you played with Army, which is a very successful football team as well as all else. And David was quizzing you about this before. What does playing for the Army in a football team mean?
So, as you know, the day-to-day feeling of that tight-knit body of group, and we have hardships that we go through during our training, and going into a football team really just tightens that bond again. So everyone knows that out in the footy field, you really got to stand by your mate and really got to make sure no individual wins a footy game by themselves. And it's exactly the same with the Defence Force and Army. So when we go into camp, we really continue to develop that culture of Army and really bond together over a week prior to the games. And luckily we've been successful in that carnival over the last sort of 25 years. So we're very happy where we are. We just need to keep developing that culture as we move on.
Sounds familiar, David, doesn't it?
Well, the great thing about our game, and you often talk to players, say, why are you here? I did to my players, what do you want from this involvement? And whilst they want to be the best they can be in the particular sport, and our play AFL, they want to be a part of a collective that does something special together. And I think it stays with them, whether they actually make and stay a premiership. But you can understand why players actually change clubs to get to an opportunity to play together and be the very best they can be collectively. And this idea of what I call the with and for of life, the with and for, with being that we want to cooperate and cohese, but in the finish we want to be predictable to the point of being trusted, and trust is the foundation block of all teams. It would be in the Army, I would imagine, too. And the second one, over and above the trust, that is doing what you're supposed to do at the time. You're supposed to do it all the time. Not easy to do, but that's what a basic aim or foundation of every team is, and it would be, I think, as I said, in the Army. But is this other for each other, and the for each other is what we will talk about most today, the sacrifice which is made. That is people going beyond the call of duty, what they could be reasonably asked and expected to do. They actually go beyond that for a mate, for somebody else to help them through and do the things that they want to achieve together. And I think that with and for mentality, we all love that idea of having good team player across our forehead. It's high priority, I think, in Australian society. He or she is a good team player. And our game gives us an opportunity in normal life, if you like, to actually go down that track together and build bonds that last forever. And I feel sorry for people that don't, some stage in their life, get an opportunity to be part of a group, whatever it is, in whatever walk of life, that comes together, and because of that, collectively, with and for, achieve something which is impossible to do as a group of individuals. And I think footy is the best way in Australian society for us to, one of the better ways for us to achieve that and get the feeling that, when I walked Kokoda with a group of 16 guys who had some connection with the Kokoda track and the battles plural that were fought there, they have stayed. It's amazing. Those 16 guys today do something collectively together. They walk or ride or swim or do something together as an achievement. The challenge in there, they're all old geezers like me in the late 60s or early 70s, but they come together again to do something collective which they can't do as individuals. And I think I'm privileged to have been fortunate enough to go down that pathway.
And you are great at having reunions of various clubs you've been involved in. So these friendships and this camaraderie you build up is for a lifetime.
And it happens with the diggers. It happens with the returned soldiers. I think it's one of the most powerful things in this country that they collectively, not dragged and kicking, can't wait to be there and spend time with people that they went through things that we would never understand, but collectively achieve something that has bound them up, as I said, binds them together forever.
So, Anthony, when Air Force, Navy and Army come together for a week, so you're in camp in Adelaide and we've pinched you across for a day from that, what is the camaraderie like across the services?
I guess initially, like any team, like the All-Australian team coming together, you sort of have the day or two to sort of bond together initially. But then as soon as those bonds are broken, it really, everyone forms together as we are, the three services combined to be the Australian Defence Force. So we still all come under the one banner, but obviously the National Carnivals, we're all separate, but once you get selected for this All-Star side, it really brings you together as the three services combine to, hopefully get up on a win on Sunday.
So you get to play on the Adelaide Oval, so that'll be a lot of fun. But it is the step in a dream, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. So this weekend we're playing curtain raiser to Port Adelaide and Geelong. We're playing at 1 o'clock before their game. So all the boys are really thrilled to get that opportunity, but the plan next year, Jared, is to hopefully one day get out on the MCG before Essendon and Collingwood on Anzac Day, on our day that we use to reflect, and have the All-Stars game or have an Army versus Navy Air Force game or something like that to really bring us into this climate that is so brilliant out here at the MCG. So that's the future, that's the plan, and hopefully the AFL can jump on board.
I could see that. I could see, because we all get here early on this day.
Absolutely.
I would love to see Army play a combination of Air Force, Navy as a curtain raiser.
Would be a fantastic idea. Yeah, so you're right. A lot of people do get here early. I was walking into the ground today, there's a lot of people just sitting outside by their cars having a barbecue or a quiet drink and reflecting out there. But I'm sure if, Army or Navy or whoever was playing out here, they'll be in the stadium, paying their respects really to those guys and girls maybe too playing.
Hopefully.
So the women play as well, and in fact their game is on today.
Correct. Yes, they're playing down at Shepley Oval in Dandenong, and they're playing against a women's.
That one. That's a very good ground.
Yeah, so a women's AFL side, and so that's the same competition as what we have. So they've picked the Women's All-Stars from the Navy, Army, Air Force groups from 2 weeks ago, and they play today, and they're also playing next week on the MCG a 9-a-side game at half-time. So, again, it's just that exposure that we have, to be able to come out and experience what the AFL footballers do, is that the extra little bit of motivation we get through defence and the opportunities that we have to play on Adelaide Oval, on Anzac Day, and hopefully on the MCG, hopefully for the centenary next year. And there's sorts of things that keep you in defence and what we're after.
Anthony, can I ask you what brought you into the Armed Forces and B, Australian football?
I grew up in southern Sydney, and I actually grew up playing soccer or football for those listening. But when I did join the Army, it was because mainly my grandfather started, and then he was always someone I looked up to. His service back in World War II in the 40s, really is something that I always looked up to as you grow up as a young kid in Australia. And also my eldest brother, he's also in the Army and serving at the moment, and he was someone that I look up to quite well. And we're very similar in our traits, so it was something that I looked forward to and decided to join up because I could see that what he was going through was something that I really desired, and I knew that I would get something out of it just like he had before me. So it was really, really good to join Defence for those sort of links. And once I joined Defence, I was down at the Australian Defence Force Academy. That gave me my first opportunity to play Australian rules footy. So not only joining Defence to serve the country, I then got involved with Aussie rules footy, and to move forward 7-8 years, and I'm sitting here at the MCG on Anzac Day. It's really is a dream come true. So I'm having an absolute ball here today, and I'm really happy with the day what it is, and I love Anzac Day, as everyone does, but to be here and in your company, it's fantastic.
Captain Anthony Davis will be our guest throughout the day in the Grandstand AFL box. What do you know about your grandfather's service?
So he served on a minesweeper, HMAS Lithgow, from 43 to 46, and he did a lot of time out there. And in terms of details, I'm not exactly sure, but it's just that service that he had. And, my as we were talking about before, with medals being put up on the wall, although I don't have them personally in my house, my father absolutely does, and he's got, the framed medals. So whenever you go home, it's the first thing you see when you walk through the door, and that's sort of that reflection that you sort of see. You go in and think, that's what you desire to be, and that's what the sacrifice that he made back in those times. And they were a lot harder, you'd probably say, than what we do these days. But at the same time, it's that service that everyone gives, and it doesn't matter if it was, back in 1915, 1940, 1970, or today. The same service and sacrifices are being made. Being away from your families and spending that time away is something that we all, we choose to serve the country, and we do it very proudly, and are honoured to wear the badge that we wear.
So a typical week then for you when you are, on active duty or when you're training, what's a typical week involved?
So it changes obviously week to week, but there's a lot of obviously planning first is the start, and then as you move into training exercises and stuff, you'll go out and you'll spend weeks away from your home base, and you'll go through, for example, at the moment, Second Combat Engineers, where we spent time up in Queensland, where we're training exactly for engineering roles and going that way. But all the different corps, the infantrymen, the cavalry, they all go out and do their training out in the bush, and then we combine together to start working on, practicing as if we're going to deploy. And that's the whole idea of it. Everyone thinks, what does the Army do every day? Well, we're training to deploy, and we're training for the chance to be overseas and fighting the fight that has been in Afghanistan for the past 10 years.
So we're just having the early stages of the cavalcade, and this is it spans the years of service. The first car is ex-POW, so Jim Cahir, who's a 90-year-old who served in the RAAF 1942 to 46, who's sitting side by side with Alex Reimer, who's 92 years of age, and he served in the Australian Army 8th Division. And through we'll go for World War II and Korea, returned servicewomen and nurses, Malaya and Borneo, Vietnam, and then currently serving Corporal Justin Streetfield, who is in the Army. It's from 2003 to the present, and Sergeant Sean O'Donoghue, who's a 40-year-old who serves in the Army as well. So before us on the MCG today, with great appreciation from about a half-full stadium here at the moment, and standing ovations for those who are driven around.
It is fantastic. That's what we talk. I think the respect now for the day. I think we've been so much better educated about what this day means, I think, now to Australia. So, to see the crowd now as they're driving around and they're all standing and giving the ovation, I think it's just brilliant.
And it does allow an even broader portion of Melbourne, and this is played out right around the country today, but there's a lovely flow from the dawn service to the march to the MCG, and there are the dawn service and the commemoration service here are absolutely bound in their characteristics, but they are quite distinct in their own way. And in about half an hour's time, it's spellbinding what happens here. And your point, Rama, about then we play the game of footy. Then we play the game of footy. And that's not the focus of the day, but it is the celebratory part to it. So we're in place at the MCG right throughout the afternoon for Anzac Day 2014, where Collingwood and Essendon will play, but the commemoration services lie ahead of us. David Parkin, Adam Ramanauskas, Gerard Waitley, Drew Morfitt and Captain Anthony Davis with you throughout the afternoon. If you're listening to WA Regionals, we'll have you back after the country hour. So let's head down to the boundary. Nerily Meadows is in place for us, having had a good wander around the MCG, where the crowd does build for a unique afternoon out of football ground. Nerily, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's a steady stream of people heading to the MCG, and with it a steady stream of pride, that's for sure. Plenty of black and white, plenty of red and white, but everyone is united in reflecting on this very, very special day. At the moment it's applause and a quiet murmur when the applause falls as everyone gets excited for that minute silence in the last post, and then of course it is on to the footy, and it's a very big game, and of course it means a lot to both of these clubs. One club in form and one not quite so much. And Jared, you and I were chatting earlier, but it's quite amazing the number of personnel differences between the two sides this year compared to the two sides last year. I did the maths, and 20 players who were here last year are not here this year. So it's quite a staggering turnover of players for two clubs who are hoping to play finals.
That is remarkable. Of the 44 who played last year, 20 have turned over. That was staggering when Nerily told me that.
That's amazing. That's a huge number, Parko.
When you think
it's
of
a 9-11 split. So it's 9 Collingwood, 11 Essendon.
Well,
other way around.
9 from the Bombers and 11 from the Pies. So more changes for Collingwood, which is, it is staggering.
It is staggering, but I think when Collingwood take the 11, which is very significant, is a reflection of what the coaches decided to do. There's no doubt about it. In their history, and I think Essendon aren't that far behind. They both have aspirations to climb. Collingwood weren't going to climb as high as they would like with the personnel they had, so they've changed them. Essendon has had a bit of an upset in the sense of the things that have happened in the last 6 to 12 months, and they're really rebuilding again in a true sense. So I guess when you think about it, when I think about it, it's amazing. It's about 20 players when I really think that through. Interesting, going back one step, Jared, is that I have two families I know extremely well, that 3 generations started the day at 4:30 this morning and will finish up here at the footy. Yep. So, that's kids primary school age with parents who are probably in their early 40s, with grandparents who are in their 60s, and they started the day together at the shrine out of bed at 4 o'clock this morning to be there for 5:15 or whatever time, and they'll finish today here whatever time, finish tonight at 5 or 6 o'clock. And I think that's a fantastic example of what we're building here in terms of our relationship with those who gave their life particularly, or those who returned as well, but sacrifices that were made, and we're now educating the generations as they come through in a way that we could be proud of. And I'm not so sure, Rammer, I think when we think back even 20 or 25 years ago, we were not staggering with that concept, but it had come to a halt and wasn't the power and influence that it is today.
I think it had come to a crossroad. It was going to go either one way or the other, and I definitely know that this game has played a significant role in the interest, I guess, for the day in itself rising again. But I think now you always look at it. You've got to go back to the schools. If it's taught in schools about the history of our own country, and I think that's becoming a lot more significant now.
Okay, let's stay with Nerily here. There's football marks its links to war today, and Jack Pym is a central part of that. He played for Collingwood in 1940 and then again between 46 and 50. Jack's a 93-year-old now who saw active service in New Guinea and in Bougainville. He served in the 15th Brigade, the 58th 59th Battalion, and was awarded the Military Cross for inspired and gallant service in Bougainville. His granddaughter Gabriella is going to toss the coin, and his daughter Julie wears Jack's medals to the footy today, and Nerily is with them. We'll pick this up in just a moment. Nerily with the relations of Jack Pym.
Well, Gabriella, you have quite the honour today, tossing the coin on a really special day.
I'm overwhelmed with excitement because it's such an honour to be representing my grandfather, and I'm so lucky to still have him at 93 years of age. He's been a big impact in my life, and Collingwood has been, honestly, it's die hard to me. I'm so thankful that we've been invited here today, and to represent my grandfather is it's truly an honour.
A packed house, a lot of people. Are you nervous?
Yeah. Look, now that you've said that, I am a little bit bit scared. I mean, these guys are some of my heroes, and so I do have posters of them, which is a little bit sad to admit. But so I am nervous, but I can imagine that the feeling of being out there with 100,000 people is just gonna lead me through. So yeah, nerves are kicking in now.
And your mum's here as well. Julie, can you tell us just how special this day is to you, given your father's involvement in the war and with Collingwood?
Collingwood has been part of our lives. We had the same seats at Victoria Park all my life, and Dad played and then came back to after the war. He was always a bit too couldn't get fit. He had bouts of malaria, and so therefore his playing was cut short. Before the war he was showing signs of a good full forward, and then had to go to war, but he brought back a military cross, so he's my hero. Then after with Collingwood he did coach the seconds under Jock McHale, so we've just always been part of Collingwood, and they've been very, very good to us and Dad, and always included him in old players stuff. Eddie's been fantastic with including the old players, and it's been just terrific.
You're wearing the medals today. You must be proud.
Very, very proud. He is my hero, and it is an honour to represent him.
Gabriella, do you have a particular story that your grandfather's told you about being in the war?
My grandfather is a very proud person who when it comes to stories, he's very humble, and he doesn't want to give too much away, because it's just one of those things in the army that they just don't talk about what happened. But I remember being very young and him telling me jokingly, he was laughing, that he'd been shot in the stomach, and if it hadn't have been for the belt buckle that he had, he would have unfortunately died. But the belt buckle had ricocheted the piece of shrapnel, and the bullet went in, but I think in the heat of the moment, he just stuck his fingers in and pulled out this hot burning piece of shrapnel and just threw it aside and kept going. And I'm probably 5 or 6 hearing this and just kind of imagining how that's possible. And yeah, he's honestly a very and he just laughs about those moments and things like that, because he's so humble about the time at the war. I also remember he still to this day, when he with his walking stick does the movements of a call to arms and things, and it's just hysterical to see him so proud, and we love him.
Amazing. So a belt buckle, I should say, is the reason why you're alive right now. It's quite phenomenal.
Exactly, that is true. I never thought of it in that circumstance.
I wish we had kept or be able to have that buckle. That would be an amazing thing, but no, we don't have it.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time and sharing your stories about your wonderful grandfather and father. Good luck to the Pies for your sake today.
Thank you
very much.
So that's Gabriella Rush and Julie Rush, the granddaughter and the daughter of Jack Pym with Nerily Meadows, and Gabriella's going to toss the coin in a short time. And think about all the stories that have been recounted around Australia today about grandfathers and belt buckles or bugles that are damaged, and we've heard them right throughout the day on ABC Radio, I'm sure, wherever you've been.
Plucking bits of shrapnel out and throwing them away. Oh.
On the stage here at the moment, the Good Times Band is playing. Leo Sayer, Richard Clapton, Russell Morris and Wilbur Wilde are on stage performing, and they're following the Army Band, who played a little bit earlier on.
Yes. Russell, great to see him up there. We got up close and personal with him a few years ago.
Yes. So can we take the stage here for a moment, Ron, and get a little sample?
In the morning, yeah. Ain't feeling tired, no way. Just hold me tight. Leave on that light, you know what I mean? Because I don't wanna go home. I know you put a spell on me, right where you want me to be. You make me feel like dancing. Dance the night away. You make me feel like dancing every night and every day. You make me feel like dancing. You make me feel like dancing. You make me feel like dancing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You make me feel like dancing. Come on. You make me feel like dancing. Yeah. You make me feel like dancing.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's the Good Times Band on stage here at the MCG. Leo Sayer, Richard Clapton, Russell Morris and Wilbur Wilde performing for a quickly filling MCG. Drew just ducked out of the box a few moments ago to intercept Kevin Sheedy as he was arriving. The day owes so much to the former Essendon coach, and here he is with Drew.
Kev, this is a really special day for you, isn't it? And you started it.
Look, it's a great opportunity to do something a bit different, and of course, in the end, try and get the people to love it, which wasn't that hard, to be honest. And I think that when you've been in the Defence Forces and National Service, and you met a lot of great guys in the Army, coming back from Vietnam and coaching some of them, and this is it, 21, 22 years of your life, you should be able, if you're ever there one day, you can do something about it. My grandfather was in the Second World War, and my uncle. I've had people in my family in war. My brother-in-law Kenny Ernie. So, look, it's for it to turn out the way it has been sort of quite unreal, to be honest.
So the game of footy has become a fabric of Anzac Day, hasn't it?
Oh, no doubt about that. I mean, really, the game's a dance in the park. It's all about the Defence Forces, as far as I'm concerned, and you pick a couple of clubs that'll turn up with a few people. The Magpies and the Bombers. And if you're going to pick someone you want to try and beat, it's always Collingwood. No matter whether you're at Richmond playing or you're at Essendon coaching. But and of course, in the end, for obviously Hurd and Buckley to be two captains for many of the years, and also obviously now coach. So it's two kids from Canberra, number 5, both number 5, great players, Brownlow medalists, and now coach. The two clubs. It's sort of just got a story all the way along.
I can remember in 1978, we were on Harry Beitzel's trip in Ireland.
Well, we were, that's
and
correct.
One of the songs they played on the bus was Eric Bogle's, and the band played Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah,
we all nearly had tears in our eyes, a long way from home.
Yeah, look, I think in the end, those trips are great. I mean, I'm a great believer in the, obviously, international rules, which Harry started with the Galahs at that stage in the 60s. So, and that gives the players an opportunity to play for their country. I think we need to readjust that. But I think in the end, I think with 100 years of Gallipoli coming up next year, this is 99th year. All looking forward to when this siren goes, then we head to the Centurion year.
In the Collingwood President's Lunch today, but you'd be barracking for the Bombers like mad, wouldn't you?
No doubt about that. There's not a problem with that at all. We've just got to make sure they turn up to play their A game, and if they can do that, they're a chance. And if they don't, I think the midfield of Collingwood would probably be a bit too cumbersome for us to get over.
Sheeds, on behalf of us all, thanks for this day.
No worries, it's great. I'm here with my Giant scarf. I'm going out to deliver the balls to the umpire, and I might just give them a bit of Giants polish before I hand it over. See you guys.
You're never far from it. Kevin Sheedy again here at the MCG to witness a lot of what he's put in place, Drew.
Like hearing from him after all these years, Rammer?
Oh, no, you never tire of him. You know, well, no, that's a bit of a lie. But look, he's such a significant part of this day. He's very humble about it. He's very modest. But, yeah, he really did. Him and obviously Collingwood, and as I mentioned, the late Bruce Ruxton, they got together and set this game up, and the rest is history now. Like he said, the game is just a walk in the park, as he said. So that's couldn't agree more.
What do you know whether the current incarnations of the teams experience what you experienced? Does Mark Thompson or James Hurd prior to him, do they continue on the Sheedy themes?
Well, Matthew Knights definitely did. He definitely continued on the theme. I know James did in his first year. I'm not sure in his last 2 years. and I know Bomber did a couple of little things this week, but I think that's sort of changing as well a little bit in a sense. I think because of the significance of it and because the players are so aware of it, it's almost not as needed as much anymore. Whereas I think beforehand, as David mentioned, it was needed. It was needed to understand it a little, what the significance of the day was. So now everyone knows about the significance of the day. So it's not as much as a necessity anymore.
From the inside at Collingwood, there was a significant focus on the day and the significance of the day during this last week. I know somebody who works at Collingwood, and they thought that they had an extremely strong focus on the meaning of the day for the players. And a bit like in your time, Rama, there was less time given over to the normal meetings and tactical stuff, but the significance of the day in terms of impacting on them as an individual and as a part of this team, I think they did an extremely good job.
Rama, this may be a stale question, but when does the camaraderie and the fight them in the trenches run out, and when does it become a football game for you?
Oh, look, I think it's always a football game. It's interesting, you talk... I never really bought into we're going to war, today out on the football field. I never really didn't do much for me, because I sort of go, well, it's only a game. We're not going to war. I think it's really a silly thing to say in a sense. But I think, as I said, when we had people come into the club and speak to us, the message was there, and it wasn't about going to war. It was about camaraderie. It was about about the team. It was about friendship, and it was about working together. And I think if you work together, you get the desired result you want. I think that's what it's more about, and what the more significance of it is about than, oh, come on, boys, we're going to war today. We've got to win. And it doesn't. That doesn't sit too well with me, I don't think, because understanding what the meaning of going to war is, as Anthony would attest to here, it doesn't sit well with me on a football field.
There's your mate Kevin Sheedy out there. He's not still for a minute. He's out there presenting the match balls to the umpires.
And he will shake everybody's hand. He's the best networker I've ever seen, Sheets. You shake your hand, Parker?
Yeah, not often. And not very firmly, as you know. We had there's an enormous respect, I think, hopefully, at least from my point of view. I don't think in my lifetime, and I've lived the life of Ronald Dale Barassi, of Ted Whitten and Kevin Sheedy right through, and without being disrespectful to either of the other two, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind, in terms of the big picture of footy, the embracement of the game by the people, wherever it happens to be, there is no one who has inspired ideas and direction and the pathway to what we have now than Kevin's done. I just think he's been absolutely brilliant in terms of his clubs that he's represented, but significantly for the game. And the game owes Kevin Sheedy an enormous amount, and I'm so pleased that they've continued to find a role where he can impact in the big picture stuff in the way that he does.
Well, in years gone by, the match ball's been delivered by helicopter and all sorts of military devices. I think Kevin Sheedy sums it up far, far better.
It is. I agree with that. Captain Anthony Davis is with us. He serves in the Army. Anthony, do you know, for those who are posted overseas with an interest in Aussie rules, is this a bit of a touchstone to home, this particular game?
I think there's always that link to football, and whilst they are overseas, they do have the chance to, get and watch these games. The bigger games are televised to those that are available to them. Not obviously everyone is in a position to be able to sit back and watch a game of footy on a tour of duty, but definitely the ones that are in the available area, they get the chance to sit back and reflect as well. Obviously overseas, Anzac Day is a very touching day for them, that they sort of feel like they're making their part of history and their part of the Anzac story. And that's something that we all look at, the people who are still serving, that look at and think, everyone wants to make their part of history, and that's just continually developing that Anzac story.
There's a banner out on the ground that both teams run through, as is the convention now on Anzac Day, which pays tribute to those who have served past and present. We might pinch these few minutes because this is the only time we will preview the game with the commemoration service coming up. The two teams are unchanged. The subs came up as Courtney Dempsey, who was a surprise inclusion for Essendon. He'll wear the vest, and Josh Thomas will be a sub in his 22nd game and his third for the season. Collingwood showed us what they're capable of last week, and there are big question marks now over Essendon and their recent form. So the actual football aspect is critical to the trajectories of these two teams.
No doubt. The game today itself, I think, for Essendon is huge. No surprise for me, Jared, with them bringing back Courtney Dempsey, because they've really lacked run. They've lacked run, dash and dare, and I think that's what Dempsey will provide. He's coming back off a hamstring injury, which is a little bit of a concern, but also coming back off a little bit of disciplinary action as well. So by all reports, he's really responded well to the kick up the backside that the leadership group gave him. But today, Essendon need to take the ball forward. Last week, there was just so much kicking sideways, so much kicking backwards. Essendon never took the ball forward, and St Kilda sweated on their skill areas in that second half. Essendon were able to flick the ball around in the first half because they weren't tired. Once Essendon got tired, the ball set up a little bit longer. St Kilda were really able to capitalise on those turnovers. But Winderlich is a really important in. I think he creates significant opportunities in the forward line for Essendon. Him and Chapman, I think, can form a pretty good partnership as those two half forwards. Whether Chapman's high or Winderlich's high, or Chapman's deep or Winderlich's deep, it just provides a different look to the Bombers' forward line. Carlisle's an interesting one this week. He's really had the acid put on him by the coach, so I'm very interested to see how he responds. You can go two ways with a spray from the coach. You can either go, I'll show you, and I'll go out and be best on ground, or you can go, geez, what's he giving me a spray for? Gee, I didn't think I was that bad. So I'm really interested to see how Carlisle performs, or if he's going poorly early in the game as a forward, are they going to be prepared to swing him back? Because Essendon need a player like him in form. On the other side of the table, well, I reckon the Pies are flying right under the radar at the moment. They had the significant loss to Fremantle in round one and then lost to Geelong. So everyone thought, geez, Collingwood the real deal this year. Well, I can tell you they're the real deal. They're getting a lot of their players back that they want in the side at the moment. There's no spot at the moment for Nathan Brown in this side, who's a very good key defender and would play in the majority of other sides. They're starting to get their running game going. Their defensive side, where they're just dragging a wingman back and then allowing Nick Maxwell to play free as that seventh defender, I think is working brilliantly. Essendon really need to have a match-up for Matt Maxwell today. They can't allow him to drop off as he's been doing and just run his own race. Harry O'Brien's generally been that wingman that's dropping back, and he's helping out the defence. Dane Swan's starting to run back into form. Now, we all forget about Dane Beams, what a significant player he is. Didn't play a lot of football last year, now coming in, having a real significant influence, and most importantly, him and Pendlebury are kicking goals. I think if your midfielders are kicking goals, it's a real concern for the opposition, because that means you have to play really, really deep as an opposition midfield, and that really then doesn't allow you to attack the other way. So, most games now are midfield battles. So if Essendon, without their best tagger in Heath Hocking, I'm going to be interested to see who goes to Pendlebury, or are they going to go to Dane Beams? I don't think they'll go to Swan. Swan's a really hard one to tag because he's on and off the ground so much. But Beams and Pendlebury are two guys that Essendon need to look at. Fasolo's been pretty good, I think, off half-back now.
Excellent.
Yeah, he was a bit scratchy in that first game against Richmond where Lloyd got hold of him, but he was really good last week. Collingwood should have comfortably won last week by 10 goals, but Travis Cloke just got back into form, so looking forward to a great game.
Two teams come together on the members' wing where the words "Lest We Forget" are painted on the turf, and a joint banner depicting the honour to the Anzacs today. So two teams who share the honour and feel the tribute of the day in a gesture of unity to go through this joint banner on Anzac Day at the MCG. Essendon and Collingwood side by side for a moment. And through they go under the specially prepared Anzac banner.
Yeah, even that's a nice gesture, isn't it?
Gesture.
They've left the banner together. Both teams snuck under it rather than smash it. It's a magnificent banner, by the way. Somebody's put lots and lots of hours of thought into the design of that, and I think it's extremely meaningful. Look, it's been. I couldn't agree with you more, Rammer. The two teams, we saw Collingwood get annihilated by 70-odd points, I think, in round one, and I thought, how far have they got to go? But in four short weeks since, they're playing, I think, pretty convincing football there. Wins over Richmond, who we still got question marks about where they're going or not going. North Melbourne, who staggered and stumbled. We're not sure about that. Whereas Essendon, they played North in the opening round and annihilated them, I thought, with the game they played. Should have beaten Hawthorn, in my humble opinion, the night we watched them, I think, together on the Friday night down the road at Docklands. And then they came out and smashed Carlton, who were, of course, on the edge and falling over. They've gone under to Fremantle, which was a disappointing result in trying conditions. They stayed with them, I think, till about half-time and got absolutely annihilated in the second half. But then the surprise came last week, and this is not being disrespectful to St Kilda, but everybody, I think, was about 40-1 in terms of picking Essendon to beat St Kilda, and they failed. I thought the score actually flattered them. They failed to win that game. Essendon are also in a bit of a rebuilding phase. We talked about this. Collingwood actually made up their mind when Nerily pointed out that 11 of last year's team are not here. That is a significant change of developing a new list and a team for the future. That's where I believe Collingwood are. I couldn't believe that Collingwood have 11. We talked about Geelong having, the last time they played, 8 players who had played 60 games or less, who we all believe can play. Hawthorn actually had 9 in the same week. And then I looked down today, and Collingwood have 11. That's half of their team out there today who have played 60 games or less. And every one of those players, I can assure you, is going to be a permanent league footballer. So they're on a road knowing where they're going, and I think are going to finish well in the top 8 and cause quite a bit of havoc for the opposition they find in September. And Essendon, well, I'm not sure about it. And we debate the Hurley-Carlisle business, and we can debate that forever. I've seen them both play well at the opposite ends, and for whatever reason that you may understand being an Essendon man, but I don't understand as an outsider that Hurley needs to play at centre back and Carlisle needs to play forward.
Would you try Hooker as a forward and put Hurley and Carlisle as your key defenders?
That I hadn't thought about, and I don't know whether Hooker's got the mobility and flexibility to do that, but he's a great competitor and certainly is a terrific intercept mark. In fact, he's number 1, I think, or number 2 in the competition. So if he's that good at reading that, he'll make a very good forward on the basis that he can read it off the boot faster than most other people.
And they did try Hooker forward late last week against St Kilda, and Essendon were able to kick a couple of late goals where the score did flatter him in the end, but because it's like the conversation and argument to me continues to be, well, who's back, who's for, Carlisle or Hurley? Maybe play them both back. Just try something different, because every other opposition is expecting one of those guys to be forward or back. Well, let's put Hooker forward and just change to get Carlisle back in form. It may need to just happen.
Well, we'll start we'll pick up a few signatures, I think, and we'll forward it to Bomber this week.
Petition.
Petition, is that what it was?
Public to speak.
For the public to speak and influence the case. I'm not sure that he will be, particularly Bomber. What worries...
Just let me interrupt you for half a tick, David. The two teams just completing their warm-ups. It's the most glorious day at the MCG, where the flags are flying half-mast, and we'll just bring the rest of our audience into the coverage that's about to commence. To our news radio audience, welcome to the MCG for Anzac Day 2014, where Collingwood and Essendon for the 20th time will pay tribute to the day and have the honour of playing in front of an ever-building crowd, one that you would expect will head towards 90,000. The two teams have been out on the ground doing their warm-ups and now being brought together towards the middle, just towards the city end of the ground where the observance ceremony is taking shape. Adam Ramanauskas and David Parkin are your experts for this afternoon, so they're debating the merits of the game itself, but this is the purpose of the day, and this has become the most spellbinding of ceremonies. So as Nathan Buckley, who stood here on so many occasions, and Mark Thompson for the first time as the Essendon coach, they form up in the middle of the MCG with their teams. Plenty of youngsters who are experiencing this for nearly the first time in their careers. We'll head down to the MCG and join your Master of Ceremonies, Hamish McLaughlin.
A guard is with us in honour of the Anzacs on Anzac Day and all those who followed them in the service of Australia.
Catafalque Party by the right, slow!
The Australian Football League, the Collingwood and Essendon football clubs and the MCC invite you to join the coaches, players and umpires in honouring the memory of Australia's servicemen and women who gave their lives for the nation. Our thoughts too are with those currently on active service. Would you please stand and remove your hats for the Anzac observance. We welcome today the President of the Victorian Returned and Services League, Vietnam veteran, Major General David McLaughlin.
For our departed comrades, they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Catafalque Party, attention! Catafalque Party, present arms!
party. 18, 10.
Let's forget.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the New Zealand National Anthem, to be performed today by OCSS David Lepoe from the Royal New Zealand Navy.
Catafalque Party, General Salute, present, arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the Australian National Anthem, to be performed today by musician Liz Cherry from the Australian Army Band.
Catafalque Party, General Salute, present, arms.
Australians, well, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our
And so concludes the observance ceremony in front of more than 90,000 at the MCG. In a time of deep reflection, the flags which had flown at half-mast atop the ground are now raised, and it gives way to a chance to celebrate what we have, what we've been given by those who have served in the past. On Grandstand AFL this afternoon, it's Essendon and Collingwood.
That's emotional.
Captain Anthony Davis is with us from the Army. That's your first experience of the ceremony at the MCG. What did you think?
Well and truly, every single one you go to is always moving, whether it be the dawn service or the march, and you see the veterans out there. But to see it at a football level and see the 90,000 people, you know, in this stadium, everyone talks about it being a deafening silence, and I can well and truly say now that was deafening, absolutely.
Perfect way.
The only thing I heard through that couple of minutes was a seagull. So you could see a few of the players out there, Paco, just getting a little bit tense and starting to wriggle the legs around and the like. But it's just a great experience for all those guys to be a part of it. I think out in the middle of the MCG.
We had my memories fading in my ears, but we'd had the New Zealand national anthem.
I think that was the first time.
That was it.
That was the first one. That's the first time. Oh, well, thank you. I thought I'd forgotten. I thought how moving it's Anzac.
Yep.
Australian and New Zealand for forces, so it's appropriate, and I hadn't heard that before.
Gabriella and Julie Rush out in the middle of the MCG presiding over the coin toss, the granddaughter and the daughter of Jack Pym, who played for Collingwood and served his country and was awarded the Military Cross. He's still with us, Jack. He's 93 years of age. He can't be at the ground today given his health, but his daughter and granddaughter, who we heard earlier on Grandstand, they've been out there representing.
Yeah, Nerily, you met them, and that was their big time to star in the centre of the stage. Up went the coin. How'd it go?
Yeah, it went very well indeed. So it's an amazing atmosphere down here. They've got a beautiful smile on their face, Gabriella and Julie. Julie was tearing up earlier today. So just a wonderful occasion. Just repeating the subs for today. We've got Courtney Dempsey, who of course just returned from club exile 4 days ago. So he is a sub for Essendon with Merritt, Gleeson and Howlett starting on the bench. For Collingwood, it is Josh Thomas is the sub and Blair, Young and Langdon on the bench. So we're set for a cracker here at the MCG.
So what do you think, Rama? What will unfold before us?
I think it'll be a very close game, as we always see. So I'm not saying anything new there, but look, I just hope Essendon can be a lot more attacking today. These games always throw up something different and something new. Can Collingwood continue on their merry way as they've been the last couple of weeks? But I'm tipping Collingwood just today.
David?
I just hope that Essendon have the confidence. And it's so hard to watch Essendon coached by Bomber Thompson that doesn't come forward with any kind of speed. It's the 138 or whatever non-contact marks they've been taking. Let's hope they go forward and somebody attracts the ball up front.
It's the opening siren for 2014 Anzac Day, and for the 20th time, it's Collingwood and Essendon in the showpiece match on the MCG. At the opening bounce, Grundy wins the tap, but Watson's onto the footy. He hand-passed it to Ashby, who got met from all angles. And downed on the spot, we'll have the secondary ball up. Essendon won the toss. Joe Watson to the city end for his Bombers. They try to win it away from the middle. Melksham to Watson, who has a second go at a clearance. He can't get it away. Melksham gathers the spillage and the Bombers do go forward first. Carlisle's under the footy and Keith makes a good spoil. Maxwell in defence. He's under siege. His hand pass went away. Tackled is Elliott. He took the tackle. It landed high.
It's interesting. They sent side bottom, said, Elliott, quick, you get down and make the extra bloke.
Jamie Elliott switches play into the right back pocket for Keith. And Collingwood look to set up down the southern side. Harry Lumumba, he marks and plays on and kicks up beyond the middle. They've never got beyond the middle. It's intercepted on the way through by Melksham for the Bombers, and they'll try to reset. Stanton gives it away to Ashby inside the 50. Chapman was in front. Danaher came over the top. Neither laid a glove on it. Swan in defence for the Magpies. One way then the other, just a little uncertain with his hand pass. Keith gathers in this goal square. He's under pressure too. His kick is a long one on the way out. Side bottom's the target. Worked away from him by Jackson Merritt. Hand pass backward by Bagley to Jackson Merritt, who delivers up to the 50. And Paul Chapman, who is a big stage player. This is his first Anzac Day. He's taken the mark. And he's got the first shot at goal.
Oh, well, you're spot on, Jared. This is the reason why Essendon got Chapman to the club for games like today. So hopefully he can deliver on expectations.
He's wide out on the right, 50 metres from home. The newest bomber, Paul Chapman, out across the face of goal. It won't score. It's got to be contested in the pocket. It bounces away from a few and out of play.
The matchup for me that's interesting to start this game is Winderlick and Maxwell. Now, Winderlick is virtually going to him like a tag situation at the moment, trying to make Maxwell accountable at all costs.
Bombers have had it in attack for a little while, trying to craft the opening goal. There's a free kick from off the ball. It's a Bombers free kick at the stoppage. Bit of hanging on. And it's going to be Brent Stanton who's awarded it.
Amazing. That was Ray Chamberlain who picked it from the middle of the ground. That's amazing. He's got great eyesight, Ray.
So Stanton's closer than Chapman. And this will score. 40 metres out. Stanton, the right foot drop punt. The goal umpire never moved. And that's the first goal of this Anzac Day encounter. It goes the Bombers' way.
Well, you talk about turnovers. Ashby's kicked back out, which was a dreadful kick. Lumumba did the same thing. He turned over with no pressure was on. But all of a sudden we got somebody who got hold of the ball and actually kicked young Merritt where it should have gone. The kick by Chapman was a shocker. Don't tell me he was set up. He missed the goal by 40 metres. And Stanton just took 3 steps. Went back. It's the shortest run-up in setting up to kick. And it went there. Goal umpire did not move a step. It's fantastic. And that's a good... They need it. If you think about who needs a good start, Essendon needs a good start.
Youngster Grundy against Ryder. Ryder beats him easily. Heppel comes in and lays a terrific tackle. The ball is gouged forward for the Pies. It's still just outside the second circle. They scrap it at ground level and Grundy forces a ball up just near the circle.
I think what's been significant for Essendon to start this game, they're 2 inside 50s, Ashby and Melksham. They've both been long kicks, so a real change in system so far.
Heppel, third man up, but it comes down to Beams of the Pies. His kick to half forward is chopped off by Hibbard for the Bombers. Kicks across the half back line, well delivered, and Gleeson marks. Straightens him up, down to the wing, and Melksham.
That's better. You wanted to go on from there. Now this is where the slow up's been the last few weeks.
Kick by Melksham from the wing to half forward. Well, good spoil was put on by Keith as Carlisle came in to attempt the mark. And the ball's gone out of bounds right below us here. Members' side, jam-packed. Every seat taken at the MCG. It looks a fantastic sight. Grundy with a two-hander gets it down. A bit of a fumble by Beam, so it can't be cleared until Pendlebury gets a hand pass to Swan, who leaves it for Ball, who's wrapped up in the tackle. He's taken a fair while. Umpire Ray Chamberlain says it's pinned to him. Give it to me. I'll throw it in the air.
A massive job for Jake Melksham. No Heath Hocking today. He's the one with the job on Pendlebury.
Grundy the tap, but Stanton the footy, so Grundy went and wrapped him up, but he got him high. Stanton's second free kick. This one won't result in a goal, but he'll hoist it up to full forward and see if they can create something. Collingwood had all the numbers there in front of Winderlick. Sidebottom made the spoil. Tuvi's after it in the pocket. He was tackled by Winderlick, but did get it off. The kick on the way out from Sidebottom's a bit haphazard, and it lands with Jackson Merritt. 60 from goal. He too will chance his arm to the goal square. Danaher sets himself, and he got it at the top of the square. In a four-man pack, he was a man with absolute intent as that ball was coming in.
Well, Frost was looking. He was looking for the body contact there,
for the feel, and he didn't. He went round him.
Yeah, he couldn't find him, and it was very smart play by Danaher there.
Close really in, Joe Danaher. 12 metres from goal. The Bombers have a couple, and that will do plenty for the cause of the underdog.
Okay, I'm watching Elliott and Sidebottom. I work as a little combination, whether it's the extra Blake back, which was Sidebottom that day, and the first one, Elliott was directed back by Sidebottom. I think they're trying to cover exactly what you stated before the game. Must keep somebody on tag on the ex-Collingwood captain and make sure that he doesn't get the interceptions he's doing. So they're sharing that load. I know you've got, who was a Winterlick, who's come out and that's his direct opponent, but they haven't allowed the extra man to settle. They played one extra down there rather than allowing that free bloke. It's been terrific. Good coaching.
Pendlebury alongside Stanton at the centre bounce. Grundy had a bit of a look at Merritt. Merritt won, helped on by Stanton. Was taken by Ball of the Pies to Pendlebury. Hand passes backwards, dangerous. The underdogs have made a great start here with a couple of goals. It comes out of the pack. Taken by Hibbert for Essendon. Gets the hand pass away. The young Merritt and a high ball from Stanton towards full forward. No mark. Ball hits the deck. Ball's hand pass didn't really clear the area. Tidied up by side bottom. Chain of handballs. Tuvey in a 1-2 with Frost. And Tuvey darts out of defence. The kick with not great penetration. Chopped off here by the Bombers. The hand pass comes in. And the kick short of the goal square. Punched down to the pack in front. 25 metres from goal. And the umpire comes in to ball it up. Well, at the moment, the disposals are about even. Collingwood 23-21. The inside 50, 7-0 Essendon. Collingwood haven't been in there.
It's a remarkable 7 minutes of football. Ryder flicks it to the back. Watson grabbed it out of the pack and he snapped it through. So Essendon is taking full toll from its early domination. 3 straight to nothing.
Well, Jared, you can't do it without winning the ball. I'm not sure what the contested possessions are there, but it would appear to me that Essendon are winning most of the 50-50s. But the change that, and it's early in the game, there's a smarty saying, but the change has been in the speed of ball movement. When it came out, it's gone straight, but people have taken risks to move. They've gone in long, and fortunately Danaher took that first big mark. That'll encourage them to go again. And at ground level, they have been vicious, Essendon. They have won everything that they've had opportunity to get at.
Collingwood operating at 57% and Essendon at 73%. 7 times inside 50 for 3 goals. Bounce in the middle. Ryder wins another one. And it comes down to Hibbard to chain of hand pass. And it comes back to Howlett. Up towards centre wing. And it's knocked away from Merritt. Socket forward by Howlett. He gains a few metres. Taken by Merritt. Howlett for the 3rd time. Gathers near the boundary line. Gets it inside 50. And a punch by Keefe playing in front of Carlisle. Sees the ball out of play near the 50. So once again, Essendon into attack. They're 3-0, 8 inside 50s to blank.
Amazing stuff. Ryder to the front at the throw-in, puts it down underfoot. Pendlebury, he gets it to his boot and gains about 25 metres, but nothing coming out of the defence has gone to a target so far. Hooker was able to gather, give it to Ashby and get it back. He measures off his pass short to Melksham. Lightning hand pass to Heppel and they're wide open. Mark taken by Ryder from 52. He's gone to the teeth of goal. Winterlick won't get there. Watson's caught behind. Watson stays in the play against McCaffrey right against the boundary. It's out of play, 20 around from the behind post.
The risk, Rammer, the risk to play on has just been unbelievable, and that's Geelong at their best.
A throw-in with another chance for the Bombers. Ryder playing a ripper so far, but it comes down to Lumumba of Collingwood. The hand pass on to Bean, so they're going to get an inside 50 here. He kicks over the wing. Man in front, Jesse White, takes the mark. Out to Sunshine. White kicks short of the 50. And Young takes the mark, former Hawke Premiership player. They're inside 50 for the first time. This is 35 metres out from goal. Punch away by Blair. Blair goes in again. Hand passes back away from goal. Witt's hand pass chopped off. Hooker intercepts. And the Essendon kick out of the defence from Howlett is smothered over the boundary line by Tuvey and will get a throw in. So they're inside 50. It's 9-1. This is Collingwood's first chance.
And they'll just need something to steady the campaign, having seen 3 goals go the other way. Witt's down to Grundy. The 2 ruckmen combined. Kick was smothered, though, by Fletcher. And Melksham's able to gather it out of the pack. He kicks the Bombers to the members' wing. Chapman fumbled the bouncing ball. It went back into dispute. Chapman laid the smother, though, on the kick of Tuvey to keep it there. Carlisle to Heppel to Zaharakis to Stanton. They're not out yet. Working back to Hardingham and Watson, and now Melksham to cross the middle. Labour intensive and ultra effective. Chapman takes the mark. And with Collingwood flooding the numbers back, he calls for a bit of calm.
It was terrific there by Essendon, all in a small space. All their handballs hit the target, and they're able now to control the football.
Ashby's made a good start for the Bombers. Back he goes to Fletcher. And then the short ball up the ground, marked by Bagley. Back edge of the centre square. Short pass again, Hurley. Inside the centre square. And the Collingwood defence better look out again. Kick by Hurley. Wide lead by Hardingham. Doesn't get there on the full. It bounces on, and Young applies the tackle on Gleeson. Takes him out of bounds at half forward for Essendon. On the Great Southern Stand side, it's 3 goals straight to nothing, and we've been playing nearly 12 minutes.
At the throw-in, Ryder puts it down to the front. Pendlebury's all over it, though. Hand pass to ball. Floating ball didn't do side bottom any favours. Had to get rid of it in a hurry, and he coughed it straight up. Heppel to Zaharakis from 50. He's taken a shot, and he's put it left. It's a behind. 3-1 to nothing after 12 minutes of play.
Goals to Watson, Stanton and Danaher for the Bombers. Pies come in short. Lumumba marks. Goes on with it. Kicks up short of centre wing. Hurley in front. Went without it. White at the back. Had a chance, but it's taken by Hibbert of Essendon. Caught in a two-man tackle. The ball spilled free. You don't get a free kick for that these days. Hand pass taken by Young. Runs into the tackle of Heppel. The ball spills free to Beams. His hand pass to Blair. Under pressure was Blair. He picked it up at the second attempt. Well done with great courage. Spills it to Ball. Across the ground he goes. To Clinton Young. Centre wing, southern stand side. He kicks towards the 50. He looks okay. The mark to side bottom. On the boundary line. He centres. Goldsack is there, but the pass missed him, and here come the Bombers on the rebound.
Hibbert off to Fletcher, under pressure, did well. Got his kick safely to Chapman, who delivers to half-back for Winderlick. Winderlick's going to go straight through the middle. His kick wasn't great. Heppel had to take it on the half volley and get rid of it. Off to Ryder. He's in a tackle. Luke Ball has a go for the Pies. To Pendlebury in a three-man tackle. There's no getting out of there. It'll be balled up in the centre square.
Bombers are now 15 disposals in front.
Yeah,
inside
on Essendon's terms, no doubt about it. Absolutely.
The ball up, Ryder pats it to the side of the pack. Melksham, another one, gives it off to Gleeson. Out to the wing for Chapman, puts it onto the right boot. Now there's nothing home, so he's gone for the boundary. It pitched in open territory, went over. The umpire said throw it in. It's as deliberate as you could ever get.
I think the crowd tells you it's pro Collingwood. It is Collingwood's home game. The throw in. Witts double palms it down, but straight in the hands of the opposition, and Chapman had a chance to clear, but Collingwood win the ball. They kick to half forward, and the man in front, Hibbert, was pushed in the back by Goldsack, and will take the free kick at half back for the Bombers. 3-1, 19 to nothing, Essendon. Michael Hibbert playing his 50th game on this big stage here today, Anzac Day. Short pass across the ground to Fletcher. He was there when this tradition started. He's 38 years old. Goes short down the line, and Stanton takes the mark, still at halfback. He thought of the short pass, now he goes longer. Danaher's a big show. He's got the height in front, can't quite take the mark. Comes down to Fasolo. Hand pass away, where it's taken by Elliott. It's gone backwards here for Collingwood. It's near the goal square for the Bombers, and they're fighting hard for another goal. Maxwell holds them up. He got two of them.
I haven't seen that for a long time, where a player kicks backwards like that.
To one-on-one?
And his opponent's there. Gee, that's very lucky there for Collingwood.
Danaher wins the hit out. Heppel goes without it. Taken by Grundy, but he hasn't got hold of it quite. There's a snap for goal here by Gleeson for the Bombers. He's offline and brings up a minor score. Marty Gleeson from Koroit in just his 6th game. What a stage for him. It is 3-2 to nothing.
For Solo into side bottom. Side bottom outside the defensive 50. It's a poor kick though. Zaharakis dropped the mark. He had the chance to steal that from Langdon. It's out of play, 50 from the Essendon goal. Nerily Meadows.
Jared Witts, after that heavy clash with Chapman, came off for a little bit. He's just gathered himself. He's back on the ground now, looking okay.
At the throw in, Grundy takes it out of the ruck, gets it off to Beams, missed his target in Swan, and it's back out of play.
And guess who's giving Watson a hard time? A fella called McCapper. I think Watson's had the ball once, if I'm right. I think he's had one possession to this point.
But they haven't settled at all here, Collingwood. Danaher down to Melksham. He's in a tackle. The ball spills away. Beams to side bottom, up over the top to Ball. It's all under duress, though. Gets it to Pendlebury. There's no space to be had. Two of them come in. Pendlebury danced through the pair. Hand pass beyond halfway, but it missed for Solo. And it rolls end over end out of play. Just that little bit off.
That was beautiful to watch, though, by Pendlebury. He made his two opponents there just stand still. He was able just to march straight through them.
16 and a half minutes gone. Collingwood scoreless so far. Won by Grundy, down to side bottom. He bangs them to full forward. Cloak gets his first touch, but not a possession. It comes off him down to the front. Great tackle laid in there by Elliott. And the umpire calls for it. Players reckoning there was a free kick there. You don't get free kicks for tackles.
He just explained how good that was. Pendlebury went right, and the bloke on his right thought he was going that way. Then he went left, the bloke on his left. He opened up the gap between and went straight between the two. It's fantastic.
Close to goal for Collingwood. It comes down, and a shot by McCaffer is offline to the left. It's their first score. It's taken 17 minutes, and Brent McCaffer, the tagger, gets the first score. 3-2 to 1 behind.
And a win for Essendon early. Melksham's had the 9 possessions to start this game. Pendlebury's had 5. But also, Melksham's had the inside 50 as well. So doing a pretty good job on Pendlebury to start the game.
Fletcher out of full-back for Solo, jumped over the pack to make the spoil and trap it in Collingwood territory. It's out of play at left half forward.
Isn't that good for him? He'd be climbing over the top trying to take the mark of the year. He's gone up and done a bludgeon to the boundary line. Good to see that from Fasolo.
Grundy and Danaher rucking against each other. Danaher from behind, removed Grundy, won the tap. Pendlebury gave it away. Beams got caught high. Collingwood fans applauding their first free kick. Beams has it 70 out from goal. It's been called to play on, so he'll land it in the hot spot, 20 out. They've got Cloak and Witts at it. Fletcher makes the spoil. Swan working under the pack, pushes away Hibberd, gets it to his right boot, snaps it behind. Missed near side. 2 of those for the Pies. 3-2 for Essendon.
Would have been a great goal. I mean, he was going at right angles to the goal line at 100 mile an hour. He just missed.
Fletcher kicks in for the Bombers. It's pinpoint, and Bagley takes the mark at the 50 near the boundary line.
I like him. He's as good as I think he is.
No, he's a good. Essendon have been looking for a small defender for a lot of years now. Their last one was Mark Johnson, so they've found one now in Bagley.
Kicked an awful-looking helicopter. Chopped off by Blair, who's kicked to full forward. Fletcher out in front. Gets the hand pass away. Stanton with a 1-2. Squares the ball across the ground, and Hooker takes the mark in the back pocket. Massive crowd on a picture-perfect day at the MCG. 20-2. Bombers in front.
Nothing open for Hooker, so as far as he can, out near the members' wing. Frost led the pack, Grundy in the middle of it. He hand passed it straight to the Bombers, though. Howlett to Melksham, taken down in the tackle of Pendlebury. Knocked on by Fasolo, but only as far as Hurley. He gives it to Howlett. Lovely smother in the pack by White, and ricochets inside Collingwood's 50. Lumumba gets it away to Blair. He's taken in the tackle of Carlisle. No space here. Jesse White flings a boot at it. It spills out to Lumumba, who's in a 3-man tackle. He's driven into the turf. And there it will be balled up. About 50 out from the Essendon goal.
That's the aggression. Yeah, look,
aggression.
Essendon have had 21 tackles for this quarter. They only had 46 for the game last week, so another positive sign.
Zaharakis handballs backwards, taken by Elliott, close to goal. Cloak tries to get rid of his man, can't. Terrific stuff by Hooker. Spills to Stanton. Stanton kicks outside defensive 50. Chapman marks on his chest, right below us here, over half-back flank. Former Cat, beautiful pass down the line. Carlisle takes the mark. Centre wing. 3-2 behinds. They've steadied things a little bit, Collingwood. The inside 50s are now 11-7. What was it? 9-0 at one stage. The kick comes up short. Well done by Goldsack to get in there and put a fist on the ball. Comes to ground.
It's a bad kick by Carlisle. That kick just needs to go down the line. Paddy Ryder, as a ruckman, should be down the line and then have a restart on Essendon's half-forward flank.
Had the ball up, Ryder won the tap. And then Watson was held without the footy. Now, Swan hasn't realised this. He's kicked it forward and it'll cost him a 50-metre penalty.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't get that, mate. I mean, the only way it could have gone was the way the majority of players, some were standing still, but the majority of players were all forcing back towards Essendon goal. And he's run off and kicked it like that. I mean, you sit in the coach's box and cut your throat on those sorts of things.
Watson inside the 50, and he's done it well. Winderlich in a pocket of space. 35 from the target.
I'm just watching Maxwell.
Getting off.
Absolutely. He's got off Maxwell. Maxwell's pointing, saying, why isn't somebody pushed back or pushed down as a midfielder to cut him off?
The Bombers need Winderlick as a target up forward. And from 40 out, he's put the drop punt straight through the middle. And given Collingwood's resurgence, that is a terrific goal for the Bombers. As they push further ahead, 4-2-26. 2 behinds for Collingwood after almost 22 minutes.
Go on.
Yeah, all that does now is make Maxwell think, I need to stay with Winderlick now. I can't be dropping off and trying to help out my other defenders. Winderlick's too dangerous of a forward to be able to do that. Either Collingwood need to take Maxwell up to a wing to free him from Winderlick, then drag him back. At the moment, Winderlick's trying to stand side by side with him at every possible opportunity.
But he gets off them and he lets him go and he points to somebody else to take the responsibility. That's not on.
Fletcher picking up the resting ruckman Grundy, and Hooker picking up Cloak, who burned last week but hasn't been in it yet. From the middle, Stanton clears for the Bombers, gets the hand pass wide to Ashby. Away to Heppel, running the wrong way. His hand pass, not flash. Gleeson couldn't gather cleanly. He's taken the ground. The ball's held in there. Now it spills away. And the umpire has a good look at it and says, it's mine. Give it to me. I'm going to throw it up. It's been a massive start for Essendon, who came in as the underdogs, and they've blitzed the Pies in the first quarter. 4-2 to 2 behinds.
Had the ball up, coming through as ball. It's the Pies inside the 50. A bouncing ball out into the pocket. Hooker leads the chase in defence. He feeds a hand pass up over the top. Zach Merritt kicks around the wing. Danaher does well. Lunging forward to mark a low ball.
Beautiful kick by young Zach Merritt there. Just left foot lethal.
And he gets it back. Zach Merritt now up to Heppel. Over the top to Zaharakis, who runs at half forward. Uses it short for Chapman. He's outside the 50-metre arc and thus beyond his range.
Collingwood have toughened up in the contest, but Essendon are running much better over the ground.
Chapman runs around a little and he lofts it to the goal square where everybody abandoned, and it was only the fact that Chapman was offline that has cost him a goal. He misses to the left. 4-3-27 Essendon, 2 behinds Collingwood.
Collingwood's disposal efficiency is getting worse. 52%. Essendon at 74%. Pies bring it up to centre wing and Grundy takes the mark. The ruckman in the pigtail. Hand pass out wide to Tuvey. Didn't thank him for it. Gets the hand pass away to Ball. Lace out pass. Oh, Cloak drops a mark. He should have gobbled. It spills to Hooker, his man. Swings a hand pass into Stanton. And away go the Bombers again. Gleeson, good disposal. Danaher marks in the circles. Danaher off the left to full forward. No mark. Hits the deck. Ryder playing role of rover. Away to Zaharakis. Gets his hand pass further afield. To Merritt, young Zach Merritt, the younger of the brothers, and a beautiful pass. And Ryder marks wide out in the pocket. He's not that wide out. He's only about 35 to 40 metres from goal.
It should be down the other end. Cloak doesn't drop that mark. It's a real simple inside 50 for Collingwood. Essendon are able to take the football and attack back through the centre of the ground.
And Hooker, in fact, had given up.
Yeah, he
had given up. Let him go. Let him 15 metres in front. Didn't judge it properly. Top of the hands. Ends up in Hooker's hands. He's not even trying to compete.
Cloak's got a clean sheet so far. Ryder for goal from 40. He steers it home. This is a blitz. It's 5-3 to 2 behinds.
And whilst they've lifted their work rate, Collingwood, there's no doubt when it gets into contest situations, they are ferocious. They're matching them. But when it escapes, there's no doubt who's doing it better. That is, providing the run. The spread's been so much quicker, so much ahead of their opposition. And as Drew's pointed out twice now, the efficiency of using that run and rewarding the player has been immensely better from Essendon than what the occasional ones we've seen from Collingwood.
And the dominance is really starting to show in disposals now. Also, Collingwood have had only the 69, Essendon up to 102, so starting to share the football around. Stanton's up to 13 for this quarter.
Marks 28 to 9.
Adam Ramanauskas and David Parkin on Grandstand AFL. Free kick in the middle, going Essendon's way. They'll claim the advantage. Ryder to Watson, up to the 50. Chapman juggles, can't mark. Fasolo's his marksman. Chapman gets his hand pass away to Heppel to Stanton. Does a lovely sidestep but wasted it inside the 50. And Langdon gets across in defence to intercept.
I'm not sure about that matchup for Solo on Chapman. I think Chapman's just a little bit too smart for Solo, being an inexperienced defender.
Well, it's certainly not working, and I think Fasolo's been in pretty good form.
Langdon to McCaffer. Still inside the defensive arc. He sets the ball around the wing. He needed White to get into the contest. Did enough to spoil. Down to ball in the tackle of Ashby. Spilled out for a moment to Hurley. He was taken to ground.
He pulled it in.
Yep, he has managed to at least not be holding it when the music stopped. Merrily.
Nathan Buckley, a very unhappy man here. Beside me on the bench, he was using the magnets around, moving them frantically. Now he's barking instructions, not happy.
Ryder, he's playing a game and a half. Palms this ball down, doesn't clear the area though. And that'll be thrown up again on centre wing. 33-2. Approaching the 27-minute mark of the opening quarter. This time Grundy gets a fingernail to the ball and helps Beams to clear. He kicks towards the 50. Your chance this time, Clokey. Punched away by Hooker. Comes to the front. Bagley to Hooker. Hooker's hand pass. He's not unhappy. That's gone over the boundary line. It's a throw-in at half-forward for the Pies. Nerily.
More than 30 interchanges for both clubs for this quarter, so quite high. I don't know if that's got anything to do with the lack of warm-up as well and the break in between, but more than 30 apiece.
Essendon by 31. Ryder wins the tap from behind. Back out towards the boundary. They've got a couple of runners at it right against that line. Kick wedged by Jackson Merritt up to halfway. Zach Merritt coming through. Collingwood free kick though in the pack as Tuvey was taken without it. It's about all they've had to cheer for, Collingwood fans. The 2 free kicks they've been given. Tuvey up to Grundy. Grundy long inside the 50. He's gone for Cloak. So far, Hooker's been good against him. Hurley recklessly back into the pack. Gets away with it. Left White, though, at ground level. He flings it onto the boot. Bounces it near full forward. Pendlebury's after it in the pocket. Melksham is with him. Melksham took him to ground without it. And Pendlebury will rise with the free kick in the right forward pocket.
Well, he had him, Sherwood, without him. He had him corralled, and it would have been very difficult to get round and have a shot on goal that would have been efficiently carried out. Didn't just need to grab at the finish. He'd done the work so well to corral him. It's sad. If he gets a goal there, this was a bad mistake.
I think it was more out of nervousness.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been in that situation before, Melksham.
Just
felt for the body. Felt for the body of Pendlebury. Pendlebury, the smart footballer, he was able to extract the free kick.
It's just blind panic. Scott Pendlebury. Tight enough angle, close enough in. Must deliver for the Pies, and he can't. He's put it across the face. And still Collingwood without a goal. 3 behinds to Essendon's 5-3, and there's only seconds left in the opening term.
It's a bit hard to believe. In our discussion on and off the air before the game, we would have seen Essendon struggling to stay with a Collingwood outfit. It's been exactly the opposite.
Hibberd kicks in and gets some distance outside the 50. Grundy can't quite complete a mark. He delivers a terrific whack to Merritt. Ball spills to Ashby for the Bombers. A high ball up towards the logo. What a mark coming from second or third in line. Howlett, before he hit the ground, he gets the hand pass away. Heppel kicks towards half forward. Beautifully delivered. And the mark of Winderlick right on the siren.
We'll take him back 50.
Just in time before the timekeeper hit the button. And Jason Winderlick, a chance for his second goal.
Oh, and he's crept a couple of metres here, Maxwell. Very smart play by the ex-skipper. So he's probably crept 3 or 4 metres over the mark here. So I'm not sure that Winderlick's got the distance in his legs anymore.
And had to tell Cloak, who was watching in the middle of the game, get back on the line.
Winderlick, after the siren, gives it everything he's got. It is a magnificent kick, but it hits the post. It was getting there with plenty to spare with distance. What a kick. What a quarter by the Bombers. 5-4-34 to Collingwood. 3 behinds, 3 points. It was an absolute hiding. Goals for Watson, Stanton, Danaher, Winderlick and Ryder. And no goal scorers for Collingwood, who trail by 31 at the first break.
This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
Can your team win the 2014 AFL flag? Find out in ABC Footy Magazine. Edited by ABC Grandstand's Gerard Waitley, it's your essential season guide. Packed with player and team profiles, statistics and exclusive insights from AFL experts and footy legends. Get all this and more in ABC Footy Magazine, the must-have season guide for every AFL fan. On sale now at newsagents, ABC shops and centres and ABC Online.
Anzac Day footy.
Grandstand AFL.
Bombers have had it in attack for a little while, trying to craft the opening goal. There's a free kick from off the ball. It's a Bombers free kick. So Stanton's closer than Chapman. And this will score. 40 metres out. Stanton, the right foot drop punt. The goal umpire never moves. And that's the first goal of this Anzac Day encounter. It goes the Bombers' way. 60 from goal. He too will chance his arm to the goal square. Danaher sets himself and he got it at the top of the square. Close in, Joe Danaher. 12 metres from goal. The Bombers have a couple. And that will do plenty for the cause of the underdog. It's a remarkable 7 minutes of football. Ryder flicks it to the back. Watson grabbed it out of the pack and he snapped it through. So Essendon is taking full toll from its early domination. Ryder won the tap. And then Watson was held without the footy. Now Swan hasn't realised this. He's kicked it forward and it'll cost him a 50-metre penalty. Watson inside the 50 and he's done it well. Winderlich in a pocket of space. The Bombers need Winderlich as a target up forward. And from 40 out, he's put the drop punt straight through the middle.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio, online and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
A quite dominant start from Essendon. 31-point leaders over a goalless Collingwood. David Parkin and Adam Ramanauskas.
Well, it's been interesting in the debate, isn't it? During the week, we've had a number of issues come about the state of the game and what we need to do. Other than the umpires, I think today blowing it a bit quicker. They ought to blow it a bit quicker. It has been a game surely dominated by Essendon, but playing the kind of footy that people want to see. There have been some long kicking in the front half. That mark of Danaher set the day where Clean across the front and took that. But they've absolutely played risk-taking. They've been in the contest and they've won more of those than Collingwood have. They've been able to run harder and more often on the outside when they've had possession of the ball. To think that it took Collingwood 17 minutes in this particular game, I think it was 17 minutes before they actually scored at all. I don't think, Ram and I, we could have ever predicted that. McCaffer, and I know there was some doubt on Watson before the game. Apparently he's had a bit of an illness and was struggling to get to the gate. Maybe he's not the bloke that McCaffer should be trying to slow down. There's a few others that are running around getting the ball 10 times much and having more effect. But it was, to me, unpredictable. That is, in the manner which Essendon's gone about the game, because they played the last 3 weeks not taking these kind of risks of moving the ball. Unpredictable in that I think all the experts that I know have all said that Collingwood with this game consistently and well over the four quarters, they have an absolute task on their hand to get the game back onto some sort of even term, let alone getting the scoreboard kicking over in the way that they would want. It's been terrific footy on a day that you hope is going to produce that, and Collingwood aren't done. Don't let me wrong here. Collingwood will, I think, settle and get their heads together, start winning a bit more of the ball, we hope, and provide the contest which Essendon did expect and will receive at some stage.
Well, I think Collingwood were completely stunned with the complete shift in structure for Essendon. Essendon early in that game, everything was kick long, get it to the mouth of the goal square and give the forwards an opportunity. And that obviously really paid off. They kicked those 3 goals really quickly in the first 8 minutes of the game. So they got out to a handy lead. But you look at also the handball received, 45-26. So Essendon's willingness now to run and take risks and give their forwards a chance. And I think that's because of the unpredictability now. You've got Winderlich one side, Chapman the other side. Now, Winderlich's kicked the goal and only had the 3 possessions, but he's been able to drag Maxwell away from the majority of these contests. Chapman's had the 8 possessions and just worked his flank beautifully, worked up and back, and has been able to do it quite easily. Maxwell's only had the 1 possession to start this game. Now, you look at Stanton and Heppel, they've had 14 and 10 possessions respectively. Collingwood's midfield aren't giving those 2 guys enough respect. You know, and those other 2 midfielders I talk about is Beams and Swan. They're the guys that have been in there for the majority of the time. Melksham's doing a great job on Pendlebury to start this game. Melksham's had the 9 possessions and the 3 clearances. Pendlebury's had the 6 possessions to start this game, but really been able to blunt his effectiveness to begin this game. The challenge now for Melksham is, can he continue it for 4 quarters? Will his fitness base allow him to continue this for 4 quarters? Travis Cloke up the other end hasn't touched the football yet. He's had 0. And I actually feel sorry for Travis Cloke because the way the football is kicked to him, it plays right into Hooker's hands. Hooker's not holding, he's not doing anything, but the ball's sitting on top of Travis Cloke's head, and Hooker's now a good enough defender just to get the arm in there and spoil the football. So, look, Collingwood need to stop Essendon's run, because at the moment, every time Essendon get the ball, Collingwood is shocked. They think Essendon are going to slow the game down. All Essendon are doing is playing on and running at all costs.
Narrowly.
Travis Cloke, he was very vocal in the huddle with the forwards in that quarter-time break. So he's a frustrated man at the moment. He's still been talking to Jesse White as he takes his place. So he'll be hoping to get his hands on the ball this quarter, no doubt.
Well, Essendon has put a stamp on it as we begin the second term, and they'll go to the punt road end. And nothing initially. The umpire's going to circle, and he might pay holding the ball against the Bombers.
Just not sure where the prior opportunity is there.
Yeah, Melksham got knocked off. Beams with a quick hand pass to Young, deep inside the 50. Cloke came up. Witts went into the middle of the pack. He couldn't take the mark. The ball spills out the way of Ryder. He gives it to Hibbert at half-back. Wobbles his kick out toward the boundary. And Frost lets it get by and out of play.
Now, I asked that question the other day. Prior opportunity doesn't take place when you dive on it. If you dive on it, pull it in. No such thing as prior opportunity. I'd go on with you, but I'm just saying there is no such thing anymore. You pull it in, dive on it, it's against you.
Grundy beats Ryder in the ruck, works it to Beams. Hand pass away to Young, who gets the Pies inside the 50, almost a one-hander to Hurley. Steps back into trouble, though. Knocked out by Bagley. Hand passes back to Hibbard. Further hand pass back to Hooker. Across the ground he goes to Fletcher, the veteran. Kick by Fletcher over half-back. Maxwell is there with his typical punch. Can he find a teammate? And he does on this occasion. Langdon gets some sort of a hand pass out. It's a scrap at centre wing. I think it'll be sorted out by being thrown up. I saw Cloke last week, been in poor form for the first month, but he hit form against North. He took 10 marks in the first half and kicked 4 goals. Got a long way to be that by half-time today.
It's a free kick from this.
Yeah, it's against McCaffrey. He's holding on to Watson. What Watson's doing is very smart. He's on the move around the contest, and McCaffrey then is trying to hold an arm. And Watson's made the umpires aware of it in the first quarter, so it's really smart play by Watson.
Watson finds Stanton, who'll have disposal number 15. It's a short pass for Danaher to reach half forward. He flings it in deep. Windelick stays off the marking contest to play Crummer. It comes his way. He paddles, gathers, doubles back. Hand pass to Melksham, who fires out of the pack and fires superbly. The Bombers get the first of the second term as well. They're out by 37 points. And what a lure they've thrown. 6-4 to 3 behind.
Well, I know what Coach... quarter time you're in that sort of position, you'd say, well, we want to scrap it. We're going to get the back on our terms. But no, I don't expect to score, but let's have a 0-0 draw for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And I thought it was starting that way. I thought they'd be direct that way. And the ball was moving from stoppage to stoppage to stoppage. But each time it's got out, there's no doubt who knows what they're doing. It's Essendon. Collingwood have got no idea once it gets away from the initial scrap.
Essendon 45 disposals in front.
It's unbelievable, that's true.
Stanton leading the way with 15. Ryder wins another hit out in the middle, but it's sharked by Pendlebury. Ryder gets a boot to the ball, though. It goes nowhere. Taken by Lumumba for Collingwood. He kicks towards Cloke. It's punched away once again by Hooker. Helped to the boundary line by Fletcher. He wants it to go out. He puts the brakes on. He sees it go out.
Oh, he's wonderful. He never makes a bad decision, does he? Never makes a poor decision.
When that looked like it sat up, I thought I saw him blow.
He's the master of knowing where the boundary is.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
50 from the Collingwood goal. Another tap for Ryder. Down for Melksham, working under the pack. He cleverly tips it up to Heppel. Watson playing the boundary. Couldn't keep this one in.
It's an interesting challenge for Pendlebury at the moment. Melksham's a very offensive player. Now, he's had the 10 possessions and 4 clearances and a goal to start this game. So at the moment, he's got his arm across Pendlebury, trying to take him forward at every opportunity.
Rider down to the front. Collingwood had numbers at it though. Beams to Lumumba, kept his arms free. Gives the hand pass over to Blair, trying to get away from Gleeson. Didn't have to get the hand pass away, but Watson was very firm in his tackle on Beams, took him to ground. Pendlebury winkles it forward. Up for Blair. Witts has a fumble, and that's all it took. Watson wins it back for the Bombers to Heppel, to Chapman, to Stanton. He's into open space. He'll kick to the southern side. They want a runner. It's Zach Merritt. He finds his way through and delivers up inside the 50. Winderlick and Maxwell. Maxwell got the fist on it. Winderlick kept his feet. He gathers at the 50. Has a look sideways. Has a look forward. He'll kick it to the teeth of goal. Underneath it went Danaher. Frost with a good touch, and Lumumba gathers and kicks.
Oh, he kicked for McCaffer, but whizzing in there was Howlett. Follows up. Balls over the crowd. Play on, says the umpire. Danaher a hand pass to Chapman. Way to Melksham. Further defensively to Watson from 60 to full forward. Out in the sun. Palm to the front. They can't get hold of it here, the Bombers. Pendlebury does for the Pies. Sweeps a hand pass away. Side bottom. Kicks up to Cloak, who's leading down behind the wing. Gets clean bowled by that, and out of bounds it goes. So we still can't give Cloak a possession. According to the statsman, he's laid one tackle. It's 6-4 to 3 behinds.
At the throw-in, Witts wins the tap down for Fasolo. He swiped it the wrong way, and it won't come off. Howlett gathers, kicks to full forward. Carlisle against Keith and Frost. It's got to come to ground, and Collingwood have numbers at the drop. Langdon measured off his kick, and he's done it well for Pendlebury. Just drifts away from his mark, kicks it out sideways, but without further event. The mark taken by Ball, 50 from the defensive goal. Merrily.
Joe Watson, he's been inspiring. He's just taking a break now, but he played about 50% of that first quarter either on the bench or deep in the forward line. This quarter, he's been in amongst it, and he's been huge, both with his tackles and his possessions, and he's having a well-earned break.
Goldsack marks it. Nice push in the back there by White, which he gets away with. The two 18s playing on each other. White takes the mark, kicks up towards half forward. It was Ball. He was in the back pocket a minute ago. Fights at ground level. Oh, he's pulled it in. Parko, didn't he?
He did.
This ball comes to Hurley. Hand pass. Oh, Chapman threw it. And the umpire saw that one. You can't get away with every little sleight of hand in this game.
He tried there, Chappie. He definitely tried.
It took a while for the umpire to realise he'd been conned.
He's thinking, how'd that ball get out there? His one arm's pinned.
One arm's up his back and a half Nelson.
Beams the free kick to the tackle.
Beams will kick it up to the 50. Cloak's on the lead. Hooker wears him close. Works him underneath it. Swan at the back. Couldn't take possession. Hibberd works it over the boundary. Merrily.
Boys, was that Chappie was still shaking his head and claiming handball even after it was called. So he was bringing that con right in.
Geelong cheat.
Right forward pocket for Collingwood. Still searching for their first goal of the game. Free kick. Which way? Collingwood's free kick. So Ray Chamberlain's paying them all over the place, and he set Pendlebury up with a shot at goal here.
Doesn't matter whether he's the umpire in charge in the back half or the front half. He's making most of the decisions. I don't reckon that was right by the look at the television. You're going to make them from 50 metres away. You want to make sure you got it right.
Scott Pendlebury, 40 metres out, angled to the right. Collingwood have gone nearly 8 minutes into the second term without scoring a goal in the match, and this is no good either. Pendlebury skews it off to the right. 4 miserable behinds for the Magpies. 6 glorious goals and 4 behinds for the Bombers.
And Pendlebury's kicked 2 of their behinds. Fletcher, the hand pass away to Hibberd. He kicks up short of centre wing. Hardingham paddles the ball beautifully for Watson, who's nearly stopped. He slips, but he gets a good hand pass away to Zaharakis. On to Chapman. He kicks towards half forward. Ball's just lobbing in no man's land. All Collingwood there. Frost the first there. Might be happy to see it out. No, he gathers. Hand pass away to Keith.
Sorry, Drew. That's a guy out of form in Carlisle there. Chapman kicks the football and he's got his back to the ball.
Beams has it. Running past Grundy, the ruckman. Good foot pass out wide to Elliott. At right half forward for the Pies. This is looking a bit better. He kicks towards the forward pocket. Cloak lets it get behind him, but White gathers and snaps and gets Collingwood's first goal. 8.5 minutes into the second quarter. Jesse White.
Well, I don't know what you thought about it. There wasn't much science. in the whole effort from where they were gathered with Carlisle's suggestion, but he's back to the play, allowed them easy access, and they moved it down in a very disjointed way, in my humble opinion. Should have come to the corridor early, had a free break. They chose to go in the pocket. Got a good bounce over the top, and White. He's pretty good at that. He's very athletic, and they didn't run him down as he followed the ball towards the goal and slipped one, just an easy one, really, from it. So, what have we gone? We've gone nearly 10 or just over 9 minutes in the second quarter, and they finally scored their first goal.
Well, they have left themselves a hole to climb out of. It's 30 points. 6-4 to 1-4. At the bounce back in the middle of the MCG. Grundy with the tap. Down to Swan. Under pressure. Kick went nowhere. Heppel gathers off the turf. Missed his target, Bagley, who's got to retreat and get it. And he's got Goldsack for company. Down with the footy. It spills the way of ball, but there's a free kick against Goldsack for in the back.
Yeah.
The Collingwood fans will be aggrieved, as Jesse White had led up to take the mark.
That was a ripping tackle.
I thought it was a great tackle also, Drew. I think he's very unlucky there, Goldsack. And the worst thing is Jesse White got the football in the lead.
Call is to play on, so Bagley sets it high around the members' wing. Magpies had numbers everywhere, but somehow Ryder was able to glide into the pack and take the mark. Hand pass to Heppel, who'll bring it through the middle for Hibbard. Short hand pass for Zach Merritt, throws it onto the boot, grabs it inside the 50, sits up for Stanton, gives it for Winderlich, had to jump to get it, and the momentum was lost. Hand pass out the side to Gleeson, who put a lovely step on to get clear, but he's missed. Near side. Martin Gleeson just shaping up for his second career goal, not to be.
Side bottom was sold the candy very easily, wasn't he?
Well, he just needed to take shorter steps, I think, when he approached Gleeson there. But Gleeson was able to step around without even side bottom laying a glove.
Young, a beautiful kick in, marked by Swan. The Swannies had a very quiet day. 6 disposals. Back to Young, across the ground. Comes to Langdon. He straightens them up. He wants Maxwell, who marks. Edge of the centre square. Heppel stands the mark. Maxwell into the circles. Well delivered. McCaffer marks. Had support coming from behind, but he goes up towards the 50. Trying to get Cloak into the game, I reckon. He desperately needs to get a touch of the leather. And it's punched away by the Essendon defence to the boundary line. And out of bounds, it's 41 to 10. And we're at the 11-minute mark of the second quarter.
You can see the frustration on Cloak. Cloak had a metre there on hooker, but he had to pull up his lead because the football was going over his head.
Half forward for Collingwood. Grundy flipped it over his head. Stanton was awake to it, though. Howlett comes through the pack. Hand pass was no good. Cut off by Fasolo. Gives it to side bottom. Careful with his kick for the Pies going forward for Goldsack. Cloak led up. He was ignored. Witts is deeper. It's going to be the shallow kick across the 50. Young's got to go against a couple. Hibbert onto the spoil. Jesse White and Hurley. Hurley goes off the ground. The two number 18 still at it. Hurley off the ground again. He's got it 70 out from goal by the time Jesse White gathers. Gives it to Lumumba. Trying to glide through. Gives his hand pass away to Blair. High inside the 50. Ill-directed. And Bagley uncontested. Intervenes for Essendon.
They knew that. I mean, White worked hard to get in front of Hurley and get that quick hand pass away. They should have had a better result.
Bagley across to Hooker, who marks near the behind post. Not sure whether he's given Cloak an absolute thrashing. Cloak's just... the delivery's no good and he can't get hold of it. Danaher takes an excellent mark at half back. Pokes in a short pass. Melcham, spoiled by Pendlebury. Pendlebury, magnificent. He gathers, kicks to full forward. Magnificent delivery. Swan, mark and goal. Well, when you've got Pendlebury and Swan combining, so good have they been for years. They need more of them today. They've reduced the deficit. It's now 25.
Well, it was terrific by Pendlebury. He's able to affect the contest there against Melksham. Right on the half-forward flank. He had the short option. And he hesitated just for that one moment because he saw Swan deep. And it was a terrific kick. And Swan's just able to play on so easily. But they've just slowed the momentum of Essendon, I think, in this quarter, Collingwood, to turn it back into a little bit of an arm wrestle. Essendon haven't been able to get the football forward and as quickly as they had been doing in that first quarter.
So 2 in a row for Collingwood. At the bounce in the middle, Danaher won the tap. Pendlebury came from half forward, crashed into the square, couldn't make anything of it. Stanton can. Hand pass to Ashby, forward of the play for Gleeson. Bombers up to the 50. Clever tap from Carlisle to Winderlick, but he couldn't break the tackle of Keefe. Zach Merritt has a go, gives it to Heppel, inside the 50, Winderlick back outside. Zach Merritt again to his brother Jackson Merritt, who's down in the tackle of Grundy. Collingwood's pressure holds up. Langdon to Young to Goldsack, and they stream through the centre square. Now McAfee, back to Young. Oh, he went over the top of the pack, crashed into it, tipped over. Blair has a go. He was taken high, feeds it out to the side, play on with the advantage. Elliott to full forward. Pendlebury's gone down there. Spoil comes from behind, and Melksham wins that duel well. Ashby on the way out.
Massive win for Jake Melksham. Collingwood have been hoping for that matchup with Pendlebury and Melksham deep, and Melksham was able to win that contest. It was a big win there for Essendon.
Jackson Merritt marks just behind the wing, squares the ball in. Melksham just inside the centre square, approaching the 15-minute mark of the second quarter. The 25-point lead to the Bombers. Up to half forward, Carlisle at last. A couple of hand passes and a foot pass now, wide to Stanton. Hooks back towards full forward. Chance here for Winderlick. Tries to trap the ball close to the goal square. He's outnumbered 2-1. He's outnumbered 3-1. Eventually loses it. Comes out to Langdon. Gets the hand pass away. Young out of defence for the Pies. Here come the Bombers again. Bagley the hand pass to Ashby. Short pass inside the 50. Punch from Stanton. Finishes it up with side bottom. They're desperate. He just throws it on the boot. Spirals it to centre wing. Fletcher with those long arms to Bagley, who's taken high umpire. He's holding the ball umpire.
Wow.
Ray Chamberlain's playing for the medal this afternoon, Drew. He's put himself in everything. Goldsack from the wing. He's kicked it for Cloak. Hooker's beaten hands down again. Cloak lays the tackle, trying to trap it there against Ashby. They all toil away. Ball spills out to the side. Elliott goes over. Cloak into the next pack. And there it stays.
He has double handled. That's the third time today when he was on his own, only to take clean possession. That's Cloak, and failed 3 times.
Essendon by 25. Collingwood locking the game down though. Heppel wins it from the stoppage. Kick up beyond halfway. Good interception mark taken by Langdon against Danaher. Gives a little bit of ground to Young. Lumumba wanted it over the top. Now there's a 50-metre penalty against Stanton, who's cribbed forward.
But they had him locked in. Yeah. They had him locked in with no alternative. Just a stupid time to get 50.
So Young brought into the middle of the ground, and he takes off immediately, veering out to the left and delivering long inside the 50. Blair pushed his man out of it, couldn't mark. Fletcher kicks in a hurry. 3-on-2 Collingwood's way. Grundy takes the mark, feeds it off to Elliott from 50, right to the teeth of goal. Mark taken on the behind line by Sidebottom. When they landed, Hurley had it, but there's no doubt Sidebottom marked. He plays on, and from the boundary snaps the goal. It's 3 in a row for Collingwood, and they are mounting a formidable salvage mission. 3-4-22 to Essendon 6-5-41. 17 minutes into the second term.
I'm not sure how long it's sat up there. I'm not sure how many Essendon players, I think I counted 1, 2, 3, who actually went to try and catch something that could have been scored as easily as a wink. Whack it through, no score, and here's a goal that should never, ever have occurred.
Well, Fletcher and Hurley are in that contest. Hurley goes to the mark.
Yeah.
It needed to be spoiled through. Sidebottom's a small player. Hurley and Fletcher are key position players. That should have been spoiled through for a behind.
Margin back to 19 points. Ryder goes off the ground out of the circles. Lumumba leads the race and gathers for the Pies. His left footer is underground. It's an awful looking kick. Might come straight back. Scrap for the ball near centre wing. Fasolo lays a tackle on the younger of the two Merritt boys. And that's a stoppage. Zach Merritt, what a day for him. 18 years of age, playing in his 3rd AFL game.
Oh, great tap.
Doesn't look overawed either. The tap comes to Zaharakis, who blazes. The whistle's gone. And free kick back in midfield is coming back to Dyson Heppel.
I thought it may have been just they're out and clear and going, and he had all the chance to do what he wanted to do. It in fact helped us. The kick and the finish wasn't a great one, but should have been play on.
Heppel sideways to Fletcher in the centre square. Now, Hooker's just come from the bench, and Fletcher's got the sort of boot on him that could get it there. He decides not to. He goes long inside the 50 instead. There's no one in good position. Swan, though, drops the mark in defence. Fasolo's got to try to tidy up. Hand pass to Beams, who gives it back to Swan. His kick is steady on the way out, and he finds Witts. Swan again receives the hand pass. Has to get around Ryder. Feeds it over the top to Ball. Hand pass to Beams. He's under pressure from Winderlick, who's charging at Witts now. Witts releases it out the back to Ball, so this is getting tighter and tighter, but his kick is good. He finds Goldsack.
Disposals are evening up. Inside 50s are evening up. And disposal efficiency evening up. Collingwood are now up to 69%. They got down to about 52. Ball has it. Centre wing. He's going to go all the way back to Frost at fullback. Well, inside defensive 50. He goes to Fasolo and misses the target. Fasolo has time for a sandwich and a cup of coffee. Gathers. Hand pass to Young. Over the top to Lumumba. He takes on Merritt and darts around him. The former Harry O'Brien kicks inside the 50. Ball pitches and bounces on. Taken by Hooker. Cloak gets his first touch. He gathers near the boundary line. And off the left. Would you believe it? He's kicked a goal.
I reckon it was touched on, not the boot, so that'll be an interesting one.
Conference between field umpire and goal umpire. We're going for the video review. Give him a break. He's waited this long. He's waited about 50 minutes to find the leather. He's kicked an amazing goal from the boundary line, and they want to take it off him.
This is your baby, Jared.
Well, there's no possibility of being able to pick this off television.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, why bother?
Either the umpire saw it get touched or he didn't. So which is it?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You can't have just a hint that it might have been touched.
It was
either touched or it wasn't.
Player puts his hand up and claims that we all did that. I did that for 100 years
This is an absolutely pointless review.
Yeah, you're right. This is what frustrates people.
Need Snicker.
Yeah. Close up.
Or hotspot. No, we need
close
hotspot.
up suggests he's a chance of having touched it, and that's the decision. It is no goal. Touched off the boot by Heppel.
40 metres away.
Ruled the video replay. Well, that's unbelievable. Essendon 6-5, Collingwood 3-5.
Fletcher thumps it into play. A pack had formed 60 away from the defensive goal. All Bagley's hand pass was batted away. It luckily landed with Zaharakis for Essendon, but his kick into the middle comes unstuck. Young marks. Collingwood break. Balls the target 55 from goal. He marks. Has a look. Just balks the kick. And goes into the pocket for Cloak. And he takes the mark pretty well where he kicked the previous from. This is a set shot, though, and we all would prefer him on the run, would we not?
Too much time to think about it.
A lot of time to contemplate it.
That's exactly right.
So denied previously by the video review. Now the set shot. Travis Cloak, one step in from the boundary. 25 metres from goal. For his first, he won't even score. He misses the target by 20 metres. And out of bounds it goes to be thrown in.
Oh, gee, he
It's not
missed
his
that
day.
by more than 20. The goals are 17 metres apart, and he's gone another 10 metres the other way. Gee.
Massive. Ryder wrestles. Witts beats him. Down below, McCaffrey, a little toe poke forward. Blair gets the hand pass to Pendlebury. It's ridden into the ground. It crumbs and taken by Sidebottom, who goes from half a metre out. He gets his second. Collingwood get their fourth in a row. And this is like the tortoise and the hare. Essendon are being run over at the moment.
Well, and good sight. There was a conglomeration, is that the word, of players, and the only one who read what the flow and the capacity of the ball was going to be was Sidebottom. He accelerated like mad, get himself around the players who were in sense after the ball, past them, gathered and goal before anybody could think about it. Terrific effort. At a moment in the game, we're sort of thinking, where is this game going to? And it needed Essendon to go the other way and put a clamp on it, or Collingwood to score. They'll go in. I'm not saying how long to go this quarter, but they'll go in with with a hope in their heart. I would have thought.
And maybe better. There's still 4.5 minutes to play. They're only 12 points down, Collingwood. Ryder wins the tap. Pendlebury's onto it. Kick didn't go far. Blair comes charging through. Hand pass was intended for Witts, flipped forward by McAfee to Pendlebury, who's doing all the hard stuff. Blair's met a solid front-on tackle. And Watson absolutely stuck that.
Canlad tackle, can't he?
That's no prior opportunity. I got that one right.
So balled up front corner of the centre square. Collingwood in attack. Gathered by Howlett, though, for the Bombers. Hand pass to Chapman. Guides it forward of the play for Zaharakis.
He's the player that Essendon need to get more involved in the games. They only had the 7 possessions.
He's kicked for Carlisle at centre half forward. Lumumba did enough to bring it to ground. Pendlebury combines with Langdon and Sidebottom, and back to Langdon, who kicks around the members' wing. Jesse White's in front. He takes the mark. He's looking to play on. Nothing quite presented for him. So he kicks it as far as he can towards the 50. Elliott was in a pack. Goldsack comes charging through. Didn't take it with him. Ball. Hand pass to Cloak. He's got a long time. They sagged off him. His kick was smothered by Hibbard. The ricochet for Hooker. Feeds it off to Ashby, who was under siege. He lost it. Goldsack gathers, snaps, and the Magpies have another. That's 5 in a row. And they're within a kick. What a transformation has come over the game. 5-5 to 6-5 late in the second term.
How good was that by Luke Ball? That football was in a contested sense in every sense of the world. Ball was able just to, at pace, attack that football and split the pack. Watson had his head over the football. Ball just charged through him, moved him aside, able to pick it up, give that quick little handball out. That's what set up the goal for Goldsack. It was looking like Essendon were going to take that football and win that football. But Luke Ball, well done.
Fantastic.
Collingwood kicked 5 goals. Sorry, the Bombers kicked 5 goals to 0 in the first quarter, then kicked the first of the second. And Collingwood have come right back from the bounce. Zaharakis gathers and then pass away. Bagley concedes some ground. Back it comes to Hibbert over centre wing. And the mark here once again to the youngster Merritt, 18 years old. Frost crunched through and Heppel hit the ground hard. Picked up by Elliott. Beautiful little pass. Mark taken by McAfee. Underground ball taken by Blair. He breaks a tackle he shouldn't really have because Merritt missed him. Kicked to full forward. It's punched to the front. Bit of black and white there. Beams works it out. Side bottom. Back to Beams under pressure. High ball over his shoulder. Might pitch through here. Gets close to Cloak near the behind line. Hand pass to side bottom, who kicks his third, and the score's a level. This is unbelievable. 6-5 apiece.
Oh, yeah. And I couldn't predict that. The manner which they've turned around, it's just been real brunt.
Yeah.
Hasn't been terribly special in the sense of the things that they've done, but you've got to give them their due after the first goal of the second quarter kicked by Essendon. It looked to me that they were in control and going, and just bit by bit, and you've pointed out a couple of unbelievable physical efforts, contest efforts to force the ball forward. Jesse White came up and took a terrific grab with Fletcher spoiling, and he always spoils everybody. That looked like some real control going forward. He moved it quickly on the innocent brunt, and good for Cloak. Cloak gathered, he's been fumbling a difficult ball, placed it out in front, side bottom, put it away.
Collingwood trailed by 37 points. They didn't kick their first goal to the 8.5-minute mark of this term. And with 28 minutes on the clock, they're now level with Essendon. Free kick in the middle for Zaharakis for high contact. 2 minutes to play in the half. He sets it long inside the 50. Watson comes up, can't complete the mark. Spinning out of trouble is Elliott. Gets it to his boot. He fashioned out a kick really well. And it rolls toward and over the boundary.
Well done. He was being clobbered and carried. In fact, he's on the ground now trying to recover. In the effort of hitting the ground after being smashed, he still was able to control the ball off his foot out of bounds.
So he'll need some treatment. Elliott can probably leave the field in a moment. Pendlebury from the stoppage gives the Magpies a chance to take the lead, perhaps. No, Bagley is out-marking side bottom. Kicks across half-back for Stanton. Hibbard's the option over the top. He takes the mark inside the centre square. He did take a step, and he's called to play on, and now he has to put the chancy kick toward Gleeson. It's successful. Gleeson back to the broadcast side. Hardingham, the surety which was in their game early, has dried up. Kicks forward now for Zaharakis, just beyond halfway.
Minute to go in the second quarter. Pies have come from nowhere. Kick by Zaharakis towards the 50. About 3 Collingwood players up contesting the mark with Danaher. There's no mark. It's underfoot, and umpire Ray Chamberlain will throw it in the air. 6-5, 41 apiece. Looked like being an absolute one-sided blitzkrieg. Now we've got a game of footy. Worked down by Witts to Beams. Standing start. And on the chest of Hurley, near the logo centre wing. Fires away the hand pass. Is there time for them to get one more score? Zaharakis on the wing. He penetrates the 50. Nick Maxwell with courage. He wasn't sure what was coming. What was coming was a big hit. He took the mark and took the hit. Well done, Maxie.
Turns and gives some yardage back to Langdon. That full-back goes into the left back pocket for Young. With the seconds ticking away, and he's got to be careful. He is for Langdon. Langdon's got to find one more. He balked at Tuvey and instead went sideways to Young. So all of this takes those precious seconds off the clock. And it is going to be exactly as we started at halftime. Dead level. But what a path we took to get there. Essendon 6-5-41, Collingwood 6-5-41. The first 6 goals kicked by the Bombers, the next 6 goals kicked by the Pies. For Essendon, singles to Watson, Stanton, Danaher, Winderlick, Melksham and Ryder. For Collingwood, 3 for Sidebottom and 1 each for Goldsack, White and Swan. Scores are level at half-time on Anzac Day. Nerily Meadows.
Jamie Elliott, we heard he was under that pack and got landed on quite heavily. He's got a problem with his left side of on his leg. He limped heavily to the ground. He's now walking a lot better. He's walking off into the rooms with the doctor at the moment, but I suggest it's just a bit of a corky and a bit of pain there because they weren't too worried about him. He is now trying to jog off with his teammates as well.
Well, they are jogging off the Magpie players in front of the faithful at the Punt Road End in front of the Social Club. This is all unfolding on Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital with David Parker.
It's been a totally unpredictable game. It started in a manner which certainly most of us who walked through the gate wouldn't have expected. Essendon's dominance in the initial contest. Their spread, as I suggested earlier, was with risk and speed. They were able to use the ball so much better. I think you pointed out, Drew, the efficiency with their feet was significantly better than Collingwood was, and Collingwood just couldn't match it. They couldn't win enough of the ball when they got it. They were under pressure, slow movement in compared with Essendon. But give them their due. At quarter time, I thought, no. First goal after quarter time, I thought how far Essendon are playing such dominant football. But the Stanton-Heppel dominance didn't quite continue so much in the second quarter, and the captain Pendlebury started to do what we know he can do, and Beams was a very good inside player as well. So some of their drivers, and that's their inside drivers who've been conspicuous by their absence, all started to get a bit more of the ball, and it wasn't pretty, I'd have to say. Very little that was methodically done out of the back half to run through the middle and to lead ups from Cloak and the other big fella. White. And White finally led up in front of us here, and against good defence of Fletcher was able to take a mark, and methodically it was carried forward to score, one of the few times I've seen it. But to have a game of this significance, equally matched, 6-5 each at quarter time, one quarter completely dominant by Essendon, and gradually but surely the ball got back into Collingwood's hand, and they did enough to suggest we will see plenty more of what is a fantastic game of footy. Despite the differences in the two teams and the way they've played, I have enjoyed every minute of this contest.
At one stage, the difference in disposal efficiency was about 25 or 30%. It's levelled up. 72% Essendon, 70% Collingwood. So they've come from the clouds, and the inside 50s are Collingwood 46 to 43. Who would have thought they'd ever be in front when it was 9-0 against? And
the pressure, the lack of pressure, the pressure that Essendon put on them. We talked about the tackles that quarter time much in favour of Essendon, putting the pressure on Collingwood. Now we go in with both sides in the middle 40s in terms of tackles. That's good. That means that both sides are working defensively pretty hard. But then from Teresa, the game's built on that true. Now, if you can't, with your hands and feet, get a good result, you're in. I think whether you finish at 18 or 1, you are in diabolical trouble. And as they've turned around their efficiency in disposal, that has allowed them to get back into the game, no doubt about it.
They went at 77% in that quarter, 16 inside 50s to 11 and 112 disposals to 95. So that's almost the inverse of what happened in that opening term.
Well, if the game goes the way it did in the last 20 minutes, Collingwood will win by a mile, as we all expected.
Well, it may be so. And hasn't Young staggered and started? We didn't see him for a year. Thought Hawthorn got rid of him when he was injured and incapable of doing it. They've got the ball into his. He's working hard and winning a lot more contested balls, but he's finished with his feet. Is indicative of what Collingwood need. He has kicked every ball long and short to the betterment of his teammate, and that's been a plus for the Collingwood Football Club. Young Langdon too, I wasn't sure about Langdon's future, but he to me looks like he's cool, calm, and his delivery in that quarter was exceptional as well. So we've got a game, a good quality game that 90,000 people are hoping to get. We've now got it.
Yep. And Young, 14 touches at 100%.
Oh, well, I gotta say,
when the ball arrives, it's usually a long way from where he delivered it. So.
That's true.
Half-time at the MCG this Anzac Day, 6-5-41 apiece. Collingwood and Essendon can't be separated to this point. More with David Parkin and Adam Ramanaskas after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Good afternoon, Paul McCarthy with ABC News. Around 5,000 people gathered for a dawn service in Anzac Cove in Turkey to commemorate the 99th anniversary of the Gallipoli landing. Hayden Cooper reports.
Before dawn, in silence, the crowd rose and stood, waiting for first light on this, the 99th year after the Anzacs waded ashore, many facing certain death. These men answered a nation's call. The Veterans Affairs Minister Michael Ronaldson said they were a nation's future. A haunting rendition of Amazing Grace followed as the darkness gave way to morning light. Many in the crowd are now attending further commemorations at the peninsula's major battle sites. Hayden Cooper, ABC News, Gallipoli.
In Canberra, the Prime Minister Tony Abbott gave the official commemorative address at the National Anzac Day ceremony. He called on Australians to remember both the defeats and the victories of the Australian military.
When all is said and done, Gallipoli was a defeat, but the Western Front a victory. And victories, even terrible ones, should be no less iconic than heroic defeats.
The US Secretary of State has warned Russia that if it continues with its activities in eastern Ukraine, it will not just be a grave mistake, it'll be an expensive one. Michael Vincent has more.
US Secretary of State John Kerry has condemned Russia's full-throated effort to actively subvert Ukraine's democratic process. He says in the 7 days since Russia signed an agreement in Geneva, it has not made one step in the right direction and was instead undertaking a gross external intimidation. John Kerry says the window to change course is closing.
If Russia chooses the path of de-escalation, the international community, all of us, will welcome it. If Russia does not, the world will make sure that the costs for Russia will only grow.
President Obama said earlier today the United States is ready to act. Michael Vincent, ABC News, Washington.
The Australian Navy has seized more than a tonne of heroin during a drug bust off the coast of Kenya. Officers from HMAS Darwin boarded a wooden boat on Wednesday and discovered 46 sacks of heroin hidden amongst bags of cement. The Navy is in the region as part of an international maritime force. The ship's commander, Terry Morrison, says the Navy puts the street value of the drugs at just under $300 million.
These drugs have now been seized and are about to be destroyed. It is well known that these drugs assist terrorist organisations through funding so that they can conduct violent acts. Today, Darwin is proud to be able to remove these drugs from this funding stream.
The Transport Safety Bureau will interview an air traffic controller and review radar information after two passenger planes flew close to each other over the Northern Territory yesterday. Aircraft are supposed to stay more than 5 nautical miles apart horizontally or 1,000 feet vertically. But the Safety Bureau's Michael Walker says a Jetstar plane and a Singapore Airlines jet came too close after one was given clearance to climb through the other's flight level.
An Airbus A330 was en route from Brisbane to Singapore, maintaining flight level 360, and there was an Airbus A320 en route from Darwin to Brisbane. They were on reciprocal tracks, and one was cleared through the level of the other, which resulted in a loss of separation.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have wrapped up their Australian tour and are now making the journey home. Lisa Mosley reports.
Prince William, his wife Catherine and baby George flew out from Fairbairn in Canberra this afternoon. They were farewelled on the tarmac by the Prime Minister, the Governor-General, the Opposition Leader and the ACT Chief Minister. A few spectators also gathered at the fence to watch. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge spent the final day of their Australian tour in Canberra, commemorating Anzac Day at the Australian War Memorial. They even made a surprise appearance at the dawn service. Lisa Mosley, ABC News, Canberra.
Now to the weather and the capital city forecast for tomorrow. Sydney, a partly cloudy day, 26. Melbourne expecting showers, 19. Brisbane, early showers tomorrow, 28. Perth, rain, chance for storm tomorrow, 24. Adelaide, showers in the morning, 20 degrees. Hobart, showers easing, 16. In Canberra, cloud increasing, 20. And Darwin, afternoon showers tomorrow and 33 degrees. ABC News.
774 ABC Melbourne's Facebook page lets you keep up with what's happening on air.
Even when you can't tune in to the radio.
At work, on the train, in the queue at the bank.
If you're near a computer, tablet or smartphone, you can share your opinion, ask a question, tell a story.
And continue the conversation even when the topic changes on air.
Like us to see us in your newsfeed and stay up to date when you're on Facebook.
Just search for 774 ABC Melbourne, but don't turn the radio off.
Anzac Day footy.
Grandstand AFL.
Danaher to reach half forward. He flings it in deep. Windelick stays off the marking contest to play Crummer. It comes his way. He paddles, gathers, doubles back. Hand pass to Melksham, who fires out of the back and fires superbly.
He kicks towards the forward pocket. Cloak lets it get behind him, but White gathers and snaps and gets Collingwood's first goal. 8.5 minutes into the second quarter.
From 50, right to the teeth of goal. Mark taken on the behind line by Sidebottom. When they landed, Hurley had it, but there's no doubt Sidebottom marked. He plays on and from the boundary snaps the goal. And they are mounting a formidable salvage mission.
Blair gets the hand pass to Pendlebury. Driven into the ground. It comes and taken by Sidebottom, who goes from half a metre out.
His kick was smothered by Hibbard. The ricochet for Hooker. Feeds it off to Ashby, who was under siege. He lost it. Goldsack gathers, snaps, and the Magpies have another. That's 5 in a row.
Back to Beams under pressure. High ball over his shoulder. Might pitch through here. Gets close to Cloak near the behind line. Hand pass to Sidebottom, who kicks his third, and the score's a level.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio, online and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
All tied up at half-time. Collingwood and Essendon 6-5, 41 apiece. Part of the entertainment program this afternoon is Kate Sobrano performing on stage here at half-time.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you going? Okay, we've got it all equal. Here for today, Anzac Day only. It's everything's fair and square at halftime. So I'm going to have to give you a song called Brave, just to kick it on. I could hear the calling 100 miles away as my heartbeat fills the silence with words that I can't say. My mother used to tell me, girl, time for you will come. And so I sit back and hold tight. My time has just begun, and I will never walk away. Just be brave and say
Sobrano on Anzac Day, performing below the scoreboard, which reads Collingwood 6-5-41, Essendon 6-5-41. Drew?
And Australia fighting above its weight division. Why do we have all these imports?
It's a beautiful voice she has.
Oh, wasn't that good? Some of the stats to half-time. Total disposals, Bombers 210 to 187. So the margin back to, 23, where it had been a zillion before that. The tackles pretty even. Collingwood 46 to 45. The clearances to the Bombers 24 to 20. The inside 50s. The margin just +2 for the Bombers now after their bright starts, 27 to 25. And the disposal efficiency, 72 Essendon, 68% to Collingwood. Free kicks, incidentally, Collingwood 10 to 9 after the Pies fans thought they hadn't had a free kick all year early in the game. Some of the individuals, Stanton made a fantastic start. He's up to 20 disposals to half-time at 80%. Heppel, 19 disposals. Just 5 kicks, but 14 hand passes. Melksham, 14, 7 and 7. Bagley, 12. Zaharakis, 12. Hibberd, Howlett, Chapman, Hooker and Ashby, all with 12 possessions for the Bombers. For the Pies, Beams leads the way with 18. He's had 8 kicks and 10 hand passes, 10 contested of the 18, and he's laid 7 tackles as well. So he's up to 72 Dream Team points by half-time. Incidentally, Stanton is 87 points. Pendlebury, 17 possessions. Ball, 16. Side bottom, 15 and 3 goals in the second quarter. Young, 14 at 100%. Langdon, 12 and Lumumba, 11. Go down the other end of the page. Witts with 2 touches. Keith, 3. Maxwell, 3. Frost, 3. And Cloak got up to 4 after going about a quarter and 20 minutes without even touching it. And at half-time, the scores are dead level, 6-5 apiece.
So what's the psychology like here, David? Essendon came in battling. Got such a great start, but have nothing to show for it at half-time.
And they would know, as we predicted before the game, they could not possibly match Collingwood in the manner which Collingwood would have come into this game without a good start. They got probably the best start in terms of dominance that I can think of almost any game I've seen this year. They absolutely imposed themselves on, initially in the contest. Secondly, in the work rate, they were quicker to make their mind up to go. They broke from the pack situations and gave people opportunities, and they were used, their efficiency we talked about, they were used, all those people, extremely well, and they got mostly a very good result on the board. And it was hard to fathom out why Collingwood was so poor, but in fact it was because Essendon was so good early. Collingwood regathered themselves early in the second quarter, and in good style, if I was a coach, I would have been very, very pleased. They got themselves back into the contest, if you like, the contest part of the game. I think now contest possessions are not there significantly in front. Now 83-74 in favour of Collingwood, which shows a work rate. They've worked hard. They've tackled more now by half-time, and they were down at quarter-time. So there were a couple of, can I say, attitudinal statistics there that suggest that Collingwood worked extremely hard without, I don't know whether others would agree, but without playing classical good football. Both sides have struggled enormously with their tall forwards. To be truthful, Danaher once or twice, Carlisle hardly at all, Hardingham not has made an impact in my opinion. And at the other end, the 3, Tuvi's well down on what I've seen him playing last week. Cloak struggling to get into this game, unlike the form that he had last week, and Witts has made no impact. So tall forwards have been conspicuous by their absence to this point. And as happens, individuals bring it about. Melsham's dominance over Pendlebury. It was a 9-6 against Pendlebury in the first quarter. It's a 5-11 in Pendlebury's favour in the second quarter. Watson has been not able to make an influence. Watson 9 and McCaffrey 9 are playing a dead set draw, but that's in favour of Collingwood because Watson is such a significant player. And Maxwell has been well held to 3 possessions by Winderlick. Winderlick has had 8 doing that particular job. So even had Maxwell's third man up and run out, and usage coming out of defence hasn't been there. They've halved their disposal quantities in the in the second quarter, Collingwood, so they took it away from Essendon, and they've improved their disposal efficiency, as we pointed out. Stanton has dropped from 14 back to 6, and he was a dominant player. So a lot of individuals coming back in form and lifting their game has helped Collingwood get back into this contest.
Second half about to get underway. Scores dead level. The ball lands on Grundy's head. He wins the hit out but can't clear the area. They scrap for it just outside the circles. Ball gets a little bit of a kick but doesn't go anywhere. And again, the umpire's going to throw this up. I think Jamie Elliott's on the bench. He's not looking too good. And Dane Swan starting the second half on the bench for the Pies. Thrown up by the umpire. Shepherding free kick. And the free kick will go to...
Absolutely right, and I can't believe Grundy's arguing with the umpire. He's turned around, back and started to push and not go for the ball, and he expects him not to be free kick.
Ryder takes the kick out to the wing. Up from defence, Fletcher. He marks near the lest we forget on the grass. Hand pass away to Stanton. A long kick towards the forward pocket. Punch to the front. Chapman trying to keep the ball alive. He does pretty well. Howlett taken to ground in a good tackle. Is he holding it up? Yes, he is. And right in front of the Collingwood Social Club. That's where you'll get a free kick, Pies.
Pendlebury, who was instrumental in the lift, has it virtually against the fence. Committed to the long kick on the way out to clear the defensive 50. Grundy versus Ryder and a couple of others punched away and out of play. So some territory gained. Subdued start to the second half after a frenzied finish to that second term. Grundy underneath the pack. Melksham was taken without it. Umpire on the spot to see it. So Melksham's free kick on the defensive side of the middle. Or just the attacking side of the middle. He kicks up to half forward. Carlisle on a good lead. Too far out to score himself. He'll kick to the teeth of goal. They'll need a jumper. Hardingham is always in that bill. He couldn't take the mark, and Winderlick runs it over the line, 5 around from the behind post.
He got a good run at it. He got off his body. He's got to take those ones. They're the ones that this team needs right now. He's done nothing, got himself clear, coming at the ball, dropped it.
Neither ruckman gets a touch from the boundary throw-in. It's up for grabs here, but it's out near the 50 already. It's unbelievable. Comes to Bagley of the Pies, of the Bombers, gets it away to Stanton, who shrugs a tackle. Pokes it up towards full forward. Lumumba is there in front. Can't mark it, even though he got a fair slice of it. Comes away here to Langdon. Gets the hand pass away to Young, who kicks to centre wing. Over wide it goes. Cloak just bunts the ball away from himself. Straight to the opposition. Taken by Hibberd. Cloak's having an absolute horror show. Ball comes back to Hibberd. Up to Stanton, who's dominated. Gets the hand pass away to Chapman. Back to Hibberd. He's run down from behind by Blair. Gets the hand pass away to Carlisle, who kick is smothered. They're up to half forward here, the Bombers. Hibberd again, along the line. Pushing the back, he'll get a free kick. Ray Chamberlain does impose himself on a game.
Well, Stanton's dominating. Pendlebury's trying to go to Stanton, but Melksham is staying with Pendlebury. So it's the free Collingwood player that needs to be aware of where Stanton is at all times. He's up to 23 possessions now, Stanton.
Hibberd will roost it near the top of the square. Danaher's coming from a long way back. Sidebottom couldn't hang on to the mark in front, but he did get a clip around the ears. So Steele Sidebottom, who stood in front of that pack as it closed on him, comes up with the footy. From full-back, short for Lumumba. On the follow-up, Sidebottom receives it back. He'll kick out the southern side of the ground. It's Keefe and Elliott. They call each other off, and Elliott let it get through his fingers. Bagley hand passes out toward the boundary. He'll be happy to get it there. Oh, Ray Chamberlain calls deliberate. If we had a subs fest, Drew. If only we had a subs fest.
Narrowly.
Alex Vasolo has yet to emerge from the rooms from the halftime break. So a big story emerging here on the Collingwood bench. Josh Thompson, the substitute, warming up at the moment. The good news is Jamie Elliott is fine. He's back on the ground after starting this one on the bench.
I thought the prize might have been one short on the bench. Kick down the line. That's awful by Collingwood, and the mark has been taken by Watson, unopposed. He gets the ball into the centre square. Chappie drops an easy mark. Spills to Toomey. Collingwood have it. Goldsack, a hand pass to Swan just off the bench. Swan with the old 1-2 and Tooby. Swan from 47. Shepherded, but it hits the post.
Well, Chappie's still on his hands and knees when they had 3 possessions and the last shot at goal, thinking what a terrible error he made. Should have cost him the goal.
First time they've led Collingwood. Gleeson marks in the back pockets. It's called to play on. So he commits to the long kick. He's got Danaher and Ryder both jumping at the pack. No mark. Melksham's underneath it. Being pursued by Pendlebury. Melksham ran into a dead end virtually. His hand passed down the boundary line, gets it over.
It's terrific to see Pendlebury's work as captain now working so much harder when he doesn't have the ball. It's fantastic to see.
Left half forward for the Magpies. Boundary throw in. Grundy in front. Ryder reached around and probably won the tap. Swan's first hand pass was smothered back into his own hands. Lets it go in the tackle. Lumumba dragged off his kick, but it floats up to half forward. Elliott from a standing start took a big jump at the pack. Didn't mark. Gleeson's onto it for the Bombers. Hand pass to Hibberd, being pursued by Ball. Slips the hand pass to Fletcher. Risky kick out to the defensive 50. The chase is on. Cloak and Hooker. Hooker gets there first. He kicks it out of bounds. It's on the full. Such was the pressure he was under.
The best thing Cloak's done. Put the pressure on.
And he couldn't run hard enough and fast enough to get side bottom beat him to get the out of bounds on the full. Had a sprint, so he was going to get the ball, the free kick.
Sidebottom's an unbelievable player. Kicked 3 goals in the second quarter. He's getting the ball on the back line. Here he is getting a free kick at half forward. Just covering the ground. Unbelievably. Kicked 10 here once in an under-18s grand final at the MCG. 42-41. Collingwood lead by a point. There's only 1 point scored in this third quarter. We've been going 6.5 minutes. Throw in. Out towards the 50. Here's Sidebottom again. Gathers a tough ball. Hand pass to Beams. Hurried kick towards the goal square. It bounces through and through for a minor score. Cloak was watching it like that's not my bus, I'll let it go.
There's something happened to the game, isn't it? It's somehow lost its intensity.
Both teams have come out very flat in this third quarter. And Essendon are very stagnant to start this third quarter. No movement.
Collingwood by 2 points. Hibberd on the long kick in. Hurley has an unimpeded jump at it, takes the mark.
And that's the one where Hurley takes it, but you need a runner coming past just to change the momentum.
Looks the pass up the line for Howlett.
It's all stop-start now.
Howlett was for Gleeson, but it was touched on the way through. Gleeson wins it at ground level, but had the hand pass picked off by Ball. Tumbles it inside the 50 for Collingwood. Hooker leads Cloak to it, does well. Knocks it away from the forward, up in the path of Howlett. Took the tackle of Lumumba, coughed it up. Blair with a hand pass to White. High ball inside the 50. Goldsack wrestles with Hibberd. Couldn't quite pull it in at ground level. And lays the next tackle on Bagley. The ball does spill out the back for a moment. Hurley had to kick it in a hurry out towards the boundary, and it bounces out of play. And no deliberate call there because Ray's on the other end of the ground. mind you, from 100 metres away, it wouldn't have shocked me.
Still in the frame.
He was tempted.
Throw in on the forward 50 for the Pies. Wits in ruck. Here's Sidebottom again. Gathers. Short pass inside the 50. Swan marks. About 49 out, wide out. Nerily?
Courtney Dempsey is on the ground, boys. The substitute has been made. Kyle Hardingham, the man to make way for Essendon. Still no signs of Alex Fasolo.
Well, it's an incredible story that Dempsey, disciplined by the club, got a clearance only this week, and he's been included for such a big game. First game for the season. Meanwhile, Dane Swan having a shot for goal from 50. Wide out, punt road end. Oh, it's a shocker. It's out of bounds on the full.
No, and I think that Dempsey decision is one where, come on, son, you owe us. You owe us. You've missed the first 4 or 5 weeks. You owe us now something. Now he's going to have his first possession.
It's probably a lack of, losing of patience with Hardingham, as you actually mentioned. Dempsey's first kick is one that almost goes out on the full. It bounced just in the field of play and will be thrown in. 50 from the Collingwood goal.
Hardingham 2 touches in half a game of football.
So Collingwood have trapped it forward. They've had it here for a sustained period of time. Gleeson fumbles once and twice, gets some help. Jackson Merritt up to Fletcher, kick to the southern wing. Danaher leads Frost to it. He plays from the boundary and gets it over that line.
If it continues to be played this way, it will play right into Collingwood's hands, no doubt about it. they have to somehow engineer the method that they found early in the game, which has dissipated over the last 35 minutes.
Under the Southern stand, it's thrown in. Witts down to the front, trying for the follow-up. Skews the way of Chapman, who stands in a two-man tackle. It's all played in close confines at the moment. Collingwood by a couple of points.
And it's a big challenge for Essendon, because it would have been, before the game, Bomber would have been kick the football long. Now they're going back into old habits of chip. And it's really hurting. You're spot on. Collingwood have better clearance players than Essendon as a whole. So Essendon need to create less of these contested situations and get the football out wide again.
Ball thrown up again on centre wing. Comes down to Chapman of Essendon. He kicks towards half forward. Down goes Danaher. Carlisle has it and fumbles it all the way over the boundary line at half forward. Narrowly.
Solo has emerged from the room straight to the back of the bench, given the red vest, and that means that Josh Thomas is on. So both substitutes now in play for this game.
Ball thrown in at half forward. Chapman in front, gathers and passes back to Merritt. Further afield it comes. Fletcher somehow gets through a couple of players and delivers a good hand pass up. Here's Dempsey. Oh, he threw it under pressure in the tackle. The tackler is my man Sidebottom, who's playing out of his skin. It's 43-41, Collingwood by 2.
Sidebottom has kicked it for Beams, who takes a strong mark with Hibberd bearing down. Over on the southern wing. Beams has got nothing obvious to go to. The lead of Cloak is a long one, and he'll take it. A rare mark for Travis Cloak. His second of the afternoon. He's 75 from goal. He covers 60 of it with the kick right into the pocket. It spills to the back. Pendlebury's onto the loose ball. He keeps it in the field of play. Wedges a kick near the top of the square, but Stanton saw it coming, and he takes the mark in defence for the Bombers.
Short to Heppel. Back pocket. Not much sun left on the playing surface now. Kick by Heppel to half-back flank. Keefe in front. Pushed in the back in the marking contest. Free kick. 65 from goal. The umpire says get round behind the man on the mark. So the ball's got to come back to him. There has been a stop-start third quarter. And really got going. This quarter, Collingwood have kicked 2 behinds to nothing in 12 and a half minutes. Keefe at left half forward for the Pies. Collingwood going to the punt road end in the third quarter. A lot of players to get through. They're all back there. Kicks the ball high. Big punch from behind by Merritt. Comes to Bagley. Now here's Dempsey. This is what he's here for, the run. But he was nailed by Goldsack in a terrific tackle. He did get the kick away though.
Langdon was able to gather for Collingwood at half forward. Give it to Blair, now to Swan, and back to Sidebottom again. He hugs the boundary with a kick, and it's a good one as Jesse White slides into mark. And White can have himself a shot at goal. Kicked one in that second term. Eight goals, 6 for the season against his name. It's the toughest of shots. Against the boundary, 40 metres out. White's given it a pretty good ride. He's given it a great sight. It's the first goal of the third term. And it's a 7th in a row for Collingwood. They lead by 8 points, 7-7 to 6-5 after 14 minutes of it.
So they almost concede that. They say, let him lead there. Some distance out, right on the boundary line. We'll give him that one. And White has been a terrific acquisition. I know at the finish at Sydney was starting to show that he could, given the opportunity to play up forward with his athleticism, be a useful player. But I think in time, the Cloak-White combination is going to be very significant in the game.
Pendlebury to the bench. Melcham with him. 49-41, Collingwood leading. Essendon have come to a complete standstill since the second minute of the second quarter when they led by 37 points on the bounce in the middle. Goes slightly Essendon's way, but Grundy gets back there, ridden into the ground, gets the hand pass to Lumumba. He's outnumbered 2 or 3 to 1, takes it to ground, Umpire says, give it to me, I'm going to throw it up. Nerity Meadows.
Melksham and Pendlebury just having a few stern words with each other as they ran to their each other's boundaries as well, each other's interchange.
Howlett clears for the Bombers with a kick inside the 50. A clean bowl's keep. He gets in after it for a second effort and got rid of Stanton pretty easily there. And once again, we'll have a ball up. It was Merritt. So we're on the 50. Essendon in attack. Comes to Watson. Hand pass back to Stanton. He didn't have time to get rid of his kick. Ball pinches it and gets bowled over for his trouble. And the umpire says, give it to me, I'll throw it up again. This game going nowhere at the moment. 7-7 Collingwood, 6-5 Essendon.
Grundy wins the tap. Heppel was over the footy. Elliott brought him down. Umpire has a good look and he's going to knock Heppel off holding the ball. So it'll be Elliott's ball at the defensive 50. Here's a look out across the face of goal. The long kick is intended for Frost. And he takes the mark. Keith made the lead at fullback, but Frost is going to hug this member's side of the ground and gain a bit of territory. It's not a good kick. Side bottom's got to go against Fletcher. Spoils were made. Hibbard's onto the loose ball. Hand pass to Dempsey. Trying to step around. Swan got caught. Hasn't picked up the thread of the match just yet. Courtney Dempsey. His hand pass smothered away and out of play.
He's had it 3 times and been tackled 3 times. Throw in on the members' side. Grundy, a youngster, shouldn't be rucking at AFL level at his age. He's 21. The high tackling here. Underneath. Free kick will go to Josh Thomas, just on as a substitute for the Pies. Started his career with the Gold Coast. Short pass to Beams. Didn't go the distance anyway, but he didn't mark it. Chapman's in there. Stolen by Swan. Hand pass back to Thomas. Down the line he goes. Kicks out of bounds on the full. Free kick will go to Fletcher.
Fletcher short for Stanton. Coming up for disposal number 25. Which Danaher to lead up at him. And the young key forward does. But where the next move is difficult to spot, so it has to be a long kick to Carlisle. Tried to guide it into his hands, couldn't. Picked it up, flung it onto the boot, kicked it out on the full. Just can't get things to work, Jade Carlisle. And it stays Collingwood by 8 points.
Well, it looked like Bomber Thompson had him pretty right. Carlisle 6 possessions at 50%, 29 Dream Team points. Back in the goal square, Elliott. And straight up the ground he comes to Keith. Barely 15 metres. Incredible game where the Bombers kicked the first 6 goals. And Essendon answered with Collingwood answered with the next 6. Collingwood bringing out of defence. Elliott wide to the southern stand side. Over there to Grundy. And the ball pitches and goes out of bounds. Collingwood 7-7-49. Essendon 6-5-41. I could get excited about the first half, but I'm struggling in the third quarter.
Well, each quarter has been distinct and the third is less. McCaffer with a little tap for Maxwell, for Blair, for McCaffer, for Beams. He's trying to get the next hand pass away but can't. Winderlick intervenes. His hand pass cut off by Blair, though, who just muscles it forward. Side bottom knocked off his kick by Zaharakis. Trying to burrow his way through was Chapman. He at least brings it to a halt.
You look at the amount of players around this football at the moment. There's probably 2 or 3 pairs at each end of the ground. And then it's basically 30 players around the contest. Essendon need to spread this game out because at the moment, as Parker said, it's playing right into Collingwood's hands, in close, in tight. Spread out, take some numbers away from these contests, Essendon.
Collingwood by 8 and Chapman just tried to bullock his way through. 3 of them held him up. So same again. Over on the southern wing. Grundy. Lovely tap down to McCaffer. Kick smothered though by Watson. High contact there on Ashby, who rises with the free kick. Gives the hand pass to Hibbard. Essendon inside the 50. Carlisle's the target. He propelled himself forward. He didn't complete the mark though. He will hold the footy up. And 50 out from the Essendon goal. It will be balled up.
Essendon have kicked just 1 goal since quarter time, and that came 2 minutes into the second quarter. So they've come to a complete standstill. Grundy wins the hit out. Puts it out in front of Maxwell. He runs onto it and is tackled immediately. Didn't dispose of it by hand or foot. Flounces the ump. And the ball over the boundary line. We're going to get another stoppage here with a boundary throw-in. Southern stand side. Massive crowd here at the MCG today. There's the throw-in. Ball. Finished up being the ruckman who went up and thumped the ball away. And whistle's gone, and it's going to be a Collingwood free kick. An Essendon free kick. Sitting the other way. Comes to Danaher. Off to Dempsey. Underground kick by Dempsey. He is struggling. Ball comes out. Bagley. Beautiful pass. Chapman had it for all money, but he was spoiled at the last moment by Frost. It bobbles. Comes back to Young. Round the corner he goes. Witts, the big ruckman, gathers and does all right in centre wing. Awkward half volley for Fletcher. He traps it and sees the ball over the boundary line. Stopped the goal, stopped it going further forward, but these stoppages are just putting Essendon in a quagmire.
Time on of the third term. Collingwood by 8 points. Ball won in the stoppage by Josh Thomas. Bounces it up to the 50. Hooker swats it away from Cloak, but straight into the path of Swan, who glides through the 50. Goes for the accelerator. Has 2 bounces. Runs right into the pocket and kicks the goal. Only the very best can do that. And Dane Swan has long shown himself to be just that. A moment of inspiration in a dire third term. And it's Collingwood by 14 points as a result.
And that goal was through effort by Dane Swan and lack of effort by Essendon. Dane Swan was able to get away and spread from that contest. He was continually looking inside. He wanted to give it to somebody inside. But I think he realised he had Cale Hooker on his tail. Now, Cale Hooker's been in that situation before on this ground. So, but today, Dane Swan, terrific, and on the left foot to finish. And fantastic finish.
And without going by the ground, it came straight off the boot and went through on the curl. It was a ripper.
Yeah, I've seen Buddy Franklin do it before around that boundary line. From the bounce in the middle, it comes to Watson. Hand pass back to Melcham. He kicks long to full forward. It clears them. It bounces end on end to the goal square. But offline, away to the right. Frost gets back there. I think he got his toe to it and went out on the full. But they've called for a boundary throw-in alongside the behind post. Collingwood 8-7 to Essendon 6-5. 22 minutes played, third quarter. Chance for the Bombers here. Ryder in front. Works it down. Comes to side bottom. We contest with Zaharakis. The upshot is ball out of play again.
You look at Zaharakis and Watson. Zaharakis had 13. Watson's had 12. Those are the two players that Essendon need to get into this game and quickly for them to be any chance.
Right forward pocket for Essendon. Right of the tap. Comes up with the footy. Gets it onto his boot. Can't curl it in. It's a behind out to the right. Collingwood by 13 points, and the Pies have kicked the last 8 goals of the game.
And they need one now. Any chance? I mean, the way they're going, not going to be thrashed because the game isn't like that, but they can't win it the way they're going.
Well, that's Essendon's first score for the quarter, a behind. It took 23 minutes. The kick in, punched by Ryder, who is one who has given his all. Comes to Melcham, slung off the kick, but he gets the left boot to the ball. Little fumble by Lumumba, caught by Watson, who's tackled like a Goliath. That is holding the ball. Umpire, play on, and the ball goes out of play. Tacklers aren't rewarded in the game. Essendon have laid 36, let's see. The tackles are 71 Collingwood, 66 Essendon, and they've probably played about 2 holding the ball.
And Watson's coming off with the blood rule here, ran straight into Lumumba's shoulder in that tackle, and a lot of blood.
So we've seen 32 free kicks, and it's been much more willing to blow the whistle than we've seen in recent weeks. I think the game has been the better for it.
I agree with that. I'm not in Drew's camp, then. I think the bloke has to have a reasonable time, and he was tackled immediately, got possession of the ball and thrown to the ground. I think that's either play on or fall up. I'm sorry, Drew, I don't agree with that. You don't reward tackles. The game's not about tackling, it's about people hitting the ball and doing something with it.
45 from the Essendon goal at the throw-in. Ryder down to Stanton, gets a kick up to full forward. Little stumble by Carlisle, who flips it over his head, hoping for Chapman, who got cleaned up by Young coming the other way. And Chapman is prone on the turf, just trying to peel himself up now. The kick on the way out has been intercepted by Dempsey. So Essendon with another chance, but Chapman is down in the square. It won't matter. The kick went shorter than that. Milsham has taken the mark.
See, Chappie asked for that. I've never seen a bloke who's been playing the game that long be so open. Come and hit me as he jumped up, and they hit him. He hit the deck.
So Essendon hasn't had a goal since the 2-minute mark of the second term, and that was Jake Milsham. It's in his hands again. 25 minutes into the third term. It's been the most costly of droughts. Milsham from 45. He didn't hit it sweetly, and it doesn't find the target. It's out to the left, and they're 2 goals behind. Narrowly.
Watson just getting the right side of his face patched up after that heavy hit from O'Brien, or Lumumba, I should say, sorry.
It's okay. Everybody listening, most people at the ground still reckon he's Harry O'Brien. Mark taken just outside defensive 50 by Elliott, by Thomas. Gee, they're interchangeable, those two. Kick up towards centre wing, Heppel marks. Short pass in. In the amount of Essendon players there, but no mark. Thomas runs onto it. Hand pass away to Pendlebury. Pendlebury weaving in the centre square. Comes back to Keefe and back to Pendlebury. So Collingwood had the forward momentum, but they did a U-turn and finished up turning it into defence. He's back edge of the centre square. Lumumba has his head bandaged, and he leaves it on this occasion. It's taken by Beams. Beams kicked to centre half forward. Harry's followed up. Lumumba is here. Can't gather. Run down from behind is Gleeson. Ball said the umpire. So the crowd, the umpire never agrees. Pies, chain of hand passes on centre wing, losing ground all the time. Bit of a this way and a that away by Keefe was clever. And now the mark's taken by Ball. There's a bit going on here, a bit of jump punching going on.
Yep, Danaher central to it with McCaffrey and Pendlebury. Ball went sideways to Maxwell. Maxwell's on the members' wing. He'll kick for the 50. Hooker was in front. Cloak worked his way around. Hooker's appealing for the free kick. Nothing is forthcoming. Cloak has marked it. He will be on the 50, but definitely within his range.
Good call, Jared, because he was in front. Cloak just lifted it up and put him behind him and we put the mark.
Cloak from downtown, 55 outs. He's hooked the kick near the top of the square. It won't score on its own. And offhands, it hits the behind post and will be thrown in. Narrowly Meadows.
Clinton Young, the magpie, is down in the rooms. He limped off the ground and looked to be in quite a bit of pain. Also, Chapman is getting treatment on the bench at the moment from the Docs. And Luke Ball seemed to have suffered a bit of a corky on the left side.
Short throwing. Hurley keeps it in for the Bombers and kicks very close to the boundary line. Carlisle with Frost. Carlisle unloaded and nearly hits the fence.
Look, I know Carlisle's out of form, but Frost is doing a terrific job.
Yeah.
He's with him every step of the way. There's been a number of contests that those two players have been in, and Frost has come out on top probably 80% of the time.
From the boundary throw-in, Swan to Pendlebury, back to Swan. He just barges his way through, gets to 25 and kicks his second goal for the quarter. Sensational.
What's good for Collingwood and not so good for their opponents in the coming week, as Swan looks like he's running back into some really, really good form. And the last 2 goals he's kicked under extreme duress, one from the angle going fast and one out of a pack. Been sensational stuff, and for Collingwood people, couldn't be better.
9 goals to nil now since the 9-minute mark of the second quarter for Collingwood. Essendon just can't find a way. They can't find a winner up forward that they can consistently go to. What's happening now? Collingwood are finding multiple winners. Their midfielders are now right on top of Essendon's midfield and are just running over the top of them.
Chapman's undergoing the concussion test down on the bench on the hit from Young. Witts in the middle wins the tap. Bombers need the footy. Melksham had a play at it, but Blair ended up with it. Gave it to Swan. Kick to the wing. Hibberd with a good spoil on Goldsack. Dempsey working under the pack. Tries to paddle it back for Hibberd. He gives it to Heppel. Floats the hand pass over the top. He didn't do Zach Merritt too many favours, but he did well against the boundary. Delivers inside the 50. Howlett's onto a loose ball. Hand passed over the top for Danaher. Run down by Keith. Goal-saving stuff by the Magpie defence. Maxwell side bottom and Witts conspire to bring it out. Now Tuvey, who floats it wide and out on the full. So it'll be back there in no time.
Look, a certain goal to Danaher. Keith, the Queenslander, did really well with a tackle from behind. Free kick into play will be taken by Bagley for the Bombers, whose scoring is completely dried up in the game. Kick by Bagley to a big pack. There's no mark. Down at front. Gee, is that a free kick to Essendon? No, says the umpire. He'll throw it up. Nerily?
In a bit of bother. Young still in the rooms, and Luke Ball getting that high hammy left glute worked on at the moment.
Ryder taps, but it's sharked by Swan. Swan's hand pass out into open grass. Outside the 50. Taken by Melcham for the Bombers. Centering ball. Bounced off the chest of Stanton. Couldn't do a thing wrong in the first quarter and a half. And this ball comes to Beams. His hand pass away into a mess. Socket out of midair by Melcham. Out of bounds on the full. It's three-quarter time, which ends the misery for the Bombers. Collingwood lead 9-7-61 to Essendon 6-7-43. This is a team who kicked the first 6 goals of the game, and they've conceded the next 9. Pies lead by 18 points at three-quarter time. It could get a lot uglier than this. Narrowly.
Clinton Young has just emerged from the rooms, but he's limping heavily, so I'm not sure how he's going to play much further part in this game, but hopefully it's just a bit of a knock. He's trying to get the jog up at the moment, but really struggling. Luke Ball still getting that left hammy worked on the sidelines at the moment.
Gee, the way it looks is they could play 1 or 2 short and still win. Honestly,
they're going to play 1 or 2 short, and they will win.
3-2 to 2 behinds in the term. Sidebottom and Swan have 3 each for the Pies, 2 for White and 1 for Goldsack. And Essendon, as it was at half-time, Watson, Stanton, Danaher, Winderlick, Melksham and Ryder, all with singles. It's three-quarter time. Collingwood by 18 points on Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio, News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
In the April issue of Gardening Australia magazine, bring a touch of the Orient to your garden with Japanese maple. Create picturesque floral displays and learn which plants and hues are best suited to your garden. Want to make your neighbours green with envy? Find out how to grow and care for your lawn. Plus, grow your own pawpaw. Gardening Australia magazine, April issue available now from ABC shops, centres, shop online and good news agents.
Anzac Day footy.
Grandstand AFL.
The Beams, hurried kick towards the goal square, bounces through and through for a minor score.
It's somehow lost its intensity.
Both teams have come out very flat in this third quarter. And Essendon are very stagnant to start this third quarter, no movement.
Back to Sidebottom again. He hugs the boundary with a kick, and it's a good one as Jesse White slides into mark. Toughest of shots against the boundary, 40 metres out. White's given it a pretty good ride. He's given it a great sight. It's the first goal of the third term. The hooker swats it away from play, but straight to the path of Swan, who glides through the 50, goes for the accelerator, has 2 bounces, runs right into the pocket and kicks the goal. Only the very best can do that.
From the boundary throw in, Swan to Pendlebury, back to Swan. He just barges his way through, gets to 25 and kicks his second goal for the quarter. Sensational.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Local Radio, online and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
Collingwood leading Essendon by 18 points at three-quarter time. At the conclusion here at the MCG, we'll head to Wellington for the second in this triple header of AFL on Anzac Day. St Kilda and the Brisbane Lions. Dan Lonigan's in Wellington. Dan.
Jared, yes, great to be here. Magnificent city, Wellington, and they've certainly taken AFL to heart again. Running through the town today, there was the Essendon Collingwood game on at all the pubs in Wellington, so it's a wonderful atmosphere. It's not a great crowd yet, but we're still, about an hour or so away from the start of the match. The St Kilda team, as selected, their sub will be Shane Savage. The Brisbane team also as selected. They need to win the Lions, none from 5, and their sub is Tom Cutler. Big game for the Saints tonight. They win this, they'll be 4 from 6. No one would have thought that at the start of the year, and I would have thought, Gerard, they're pretty warm favourites to keep their good form going for their new coach, Alan Richardson.
It's a great chance across the Tasman. We'll be with you in Wellington at the conclusion here at the MCG. So Collingwood's established an 18-point break, David Parkin, and things would have to transform yet again for this to change.
And Gerard, it's almost impossible, I would suggest, to see a resurrection of the Essendon's method. It was so outstanding early. They played risk-taking, courageous, energetic football and a lot of skill on the end of it with their usage, and got their due result by quarter time. And I think everybody had come, those who are aligned with Essendon and those who are non-aligned with either Collingwood and Essendon, would have thought this is terrific stuff, and if they maintain this kind of output, then they'll certainly test Collingwood to the limit. Well, how wrong we were. I couldn't believe at the start of the third quarter how the game changed its nature totally. We had a dominant Essendon first quarter, a dominant Collingwood second quarter, and then somehow the energy levels and risk-taking of both sides sort of totally disappeared from the game, and we had a struggle, the kind of footy that we've been debating during the week whether we want to see or not, and I've seen lots of good football. I reckon 3 games that I went to in person last round were the kind of footy I want to see. And today it's got back into a slug, which I think Collingwood wanted to make it. And as soon as it became the rolling maul, as we call it, with the numbers that we've talked about being around the ball, it was certainly not going to allow Essendon to do what they did early and show the skills and ability they have. It allowed Collingwood to methodically get itself back into the game. And they now, not so much dominant on the scoreboard. The scoreboard looks like Essendon's still in it, but they're quite honestly not. I cannot see how they could get back, but Collingwood would be pleased that they withstood the onslaught. They're playing pretty good football with some of their better players. Beams Pendlebury, side bottom, Swan back to his best. Ball's been terrific from the word go. I mean, that's been the heartbeat of the side, and a lot of those are very good inside players. But if you look at the bottom end, when you see by three-quarter time, Watson, Ryder, young Gleeson, well, he's only early player, but Hurley, Winderlick, who started so well, Danaher, Carlisle, Dempsey, Hardingham, will hardly be able to make any impact on the game at all. Chapman, who started like a Bondi tram, has dissipated out of the game, and in fact has concussion test before, which might rule him out. I can't see where, if anything, can come from in terms of what Essendon need. They have to know what they have to do, and Collingwood, who've now got them totally and utterly under control.
Nerily Manos.
Ball and Clinton Young running in front of me at the moment, trying to prove that they're okay to go. Nathan Buckley had a quick word to Young. Young looked to have told him that he's going to be okay, even though he's still limping. Buckley certainly wants him to carry on. Chapman, it looks like he passed that concussion test, but he has started on the bench, so we'll wait and see if he does play any further part.
So the first bounce is going to have to be recalled. It's a false start to the final quarter. Collingwood by 18 points. Essendon to finish off to the punt road end. Haven't kicked a goal since the 2-minute mark of the second term. At the ball up, Ryder jumps in, wins it down to Heppel. Tried to get the hand pass to Watson, failed. Swan got in the way. He's dispossessed. Heppel has another go. Feeds it out the back to Bagley. Gives the hand pass to Zaharakis. Long kick to half forward. Howlett's the target. Maxwell's the spoiler. Out towards the boundary and over that line. Narrowly.
Just on Alex Fasolo, guys, we know he's been substituted out of the match. He spent 99% of that third quarter in the rooms. He only emerged to get the red vest, went back down again. He's back on the bench now, but it's not great signs for a player who spent most of last year on the sidelines with that dreaded navicular injury.
Ryder wins in the ruck. It's close to the boundary line. Merritt hand passes along the line. It's picked up by Zaharakis, who centres the ball to the goal square. The punch away fails. It comes luckily to the Bombers. Hand pass back to Winderlick. Beats one. Couldn't beat the second tackle. The hand pass back to young Merritt, who snaps the goal. Zach Merritt gets his first goal in AFL football, and the first, it seems, for a week and a half in this game for Essendon.
And got it through with some terrific energy, a fair bit of risk-taking, some good ball winning at the initial set of bounce. Usage in was a bit high. I think allowed at one stage Maxwell to come over the top and punch it out. But they actually did that pretty well. A lot of energy, bit of risk-taking, and the kind of speed we saw in movement in the first quarter that we haven't seen since.
Merritt, who was the Bombers' first pick in last year's draft.
Collingwood by 12 points, 9-7 to 7-7. At the bounce, Ryder jumps high. Grundy, though, wins the tap. Down to Swan. Off to Josh Thomas. Finds a way through. Kicks up to half forward and beyond, which was worked past it, but he'll get a free kick. Dustin Fletcher
hanging on all the way.
Adjudged to have infringed.
Yeah, hanging on all the way he was.
So Witts hasn't kicked a goal yet this season. In the final term of his 4th game for the year. He's angled slightly to the left, but nothing to speak of. Witts from 40. Didn't do enough. It's left behind. Collingwood by 13.
If you don't get many chances, the big bloke, you got to put those away. It was an awful miss.
Hibberd kicks to himself and then goes for distance. Oh, Danaher was pushed out of the marking contest by Frost. Danaher the free kick. His hand pass is not great. It's at the bootlaces of Heppel. Frost nearly nails him. Heppel recovers. Kicks down towards half forward. And that's a pretty good spoil by Langdon, who gets the ball out of play, and we'll have a throw in right below us.
Well, they're having a bit of a go in terms of playing on and taking some risks. What they have to do. The game's done and lost if they don't. At least they're attempting to do what they should do.
Well, the margin's only 13 points. Most times we'd give the team behind every chance, but not the way they've been playing Essendon in the last couple of quarters. This ball's down towards half forward and has gone over the boundary line for a throw-in, another stoppage, chance to get to Nerily.
Paul Chapman has come back onto the ground, so he's passed that concussion test and will play on. And Luke Ball is also back out there as well after getting that left hammy glute worked on.
Looks as though he's got a limp, Chappie. Not a head knock. This comes to Beams. He gathers, ducks a high tackle, kicks it 20 metres down the boundary line. Bombers players all saying, how's that for deliberately out? Umpire says no.
One of Chapman's real problems, he doesn't do anything when he hasn't got the ball, hasn't put a tackle on for the day, shocking on the way out, doesn't chase down, waits for the next one to come back.
Left half forward for the Bombers. At the throw-in, Ryder wins the tap, but Beams is onto the footy. Kicks the Magpies beyond halfway. Witts sets himself. Fletcher closes late, makes the spoil. Now Dempsey's got to go under the pack, and he's crutched by Ball, but he stays in the contest. Gathers, tackled by Thomas. Really important that the umpire doesn't pay holding the ball here.
No.
And he fails that test miserably. That is not holding the ball. And Courtney Dempsey should feel aggrieved as he rises.
Oh, a nice clip from Ball.
Thomas kicks down the line, and the spoil is made by Ryder. He punches it out of play.
He didn't elect to go to the ground.
No,
he was just
taken to ground.
Taken to the ground. I can't believe those decisions are made.
Just 13 points the difference. Collingwood leading at the 5-minute mark of the last quarter. Worked down by Carlisle. Chapman lays a tackle, but a kick comes out towards the centre square. Awkward ball for Beams, who can't pick it off his boots. Taken by Watson to Heppel to Chapman. High off the left to half forward. Danaher wrestles. Frost in a good wrestle with him. A dead heat. Danaher had it. Frost nails him in a good tackle. Really good contest. And that will be a baller. And Frost, who came from Williamstown in the VFL, has had a fantastic season. Played every game. Played just a couple last year. Doing really well.
Left half forward for Essendon. Margin is 13 points. A goal would really bring this to life. Ryder to Watson. Hand pass for Heppel, who's trying to impose himself on this final term. Hand pass to Jackson Merritt, who gives it to Stanton. Kicked on the turn. Blind into the pocket. Carlisle's got to make a contest. He gets in there against Blair, and he gives away the free kick.
And the kick across in front of goal to Lumumba with the headband on. He has a bounce. Gets outside 50. Comes to a halt, squares the ball back into Maxwell. Ex-skipper probably called him in. Nerily?
Alex Fasolo just spotted he's wearing a moon boot on his right foot. Clinton Young still getting worked on, and Paul Chapman back on the bench getting looked at.
Jeez, I hope it's not that navicular bone that he broke last season. Hope it's just a rolled ankle.
Here's Frost at half-back. Hand pass into Keefe. Sidestep, gets around. Hand pass down the line. Well done by Tooby. with a kick to Blair. Blair puts it out in the open. Beams takes the mark, 65 from goal. Great move by the Pies. Kick to the forward pocket. Mark drop. Recovery by Swan. Wheels around on his left. Gets round on his right. Hand pass to Cloak, who needs a goal, but snaps and misses. Misses to the right-hand side. The lead isn't all that safe at the moment. They lead by 14.
7 minutes into the final term. Fletcher plays onto himself. He's got a long kick to Hooker. Good mark over the top of Beams. Hand passes it away to Heppel. Kick around the wing for Danaher. Watson wants it over the top, and Danaher will oblige. Watson cuts inboard with a good turn of speed away from ball and has a bounce, and he opens the play up, and he doesn't waste it. He puts it lace out to the leading Jackson Merritt.
It was really good play by Watson. He could have given that handball to Ashby, but elected to go himself, and a really smart lead by Jackson Merritt. Found the space inside forward 50. Needs to convert here.
He'll have to kick it every bit of 50 metres. He's kicked one goal in his league career to this moment. He gives it everything he's got. Jackson Merritt, it's a lovely kick, and it's carried the line. So the Merritt boys are dragging the Bombers back. Right down by only 8 points, 8-7 to 9-9.
A great kick by young Merritt, but the work rate of Watson, who's come from the defensive 50, he actually outran. McCaffrey was trying to go, couldn't he? Opened up a gap, in fact, of 10 or 15 metres, was able to do his bit. The way he thought through that was fantastic, wasn't he? Didn't, was tempted to give it off.
Took the responsibility.
And took the responsibility and kicked it straight down his throat. That was a wonderful leadership effort at a time when the team most needed it.
Now the Bombers fans are starting to find some voice. This last quarter has been full of merit. 63 plays 55. Bounce in the middle. Ryder wins. Watson had a fumble, but he went back and regathered. He puts the ball out in front. On the run here is Gleeson. He gets to the 50. Gleeson goes long and just short. Mark in the last line taken by Langdon for the Pies. Well, they're all tired. This game might finish full of running, so the next 20 minutes might be a lot of fun, yeah?
Langdon out of fullback as far as he can. He had Goldsack in it, but Fletcher made the spoil. Chapman working underneath. Hand pass found its way to Watson, not directly. Caffer lays the tackle. Gleeson's dragged off it. Maxwell gets in, trying to work hard against Milksham. The umpire required to ball it up narrowly.
Chapman, it was his left ankle that got looked at. He got the boot off and got it strapped. He's back on the ground now, as you heard, but limping a little bit. Clinton Young still not in the game. And keep an eye on Courtney Dempsey. He is absolutely spent.
Right at the tap, but taken by Witts. Kicked around the wing for Collingwood. Goldsack trying to burrow through. He's got good support from Swan, and he kicks to Cloak. 2 kicks from goal. He's gone for full forward. Jesse White's in front. Hurley made the spoil. Hibberd sticks the tackle. Ball jars loose. White's over the top of it. Hibberd hangs on. Goldsack pulls it clear. Gives it to Swan. He's pushed off his kick, and it wobbles away past the face of goal. And out of play.
Very fortunate. Jared Blair was running inside 50 all by himself, and Cloak just couldn't see him.
I thought Swanee was going to nail that. In it comes. Taken by Watson. Slings a hand pass to a dangerous spot if Collingwood get it. And they have. Elliott dodges, weaves. Hand pass back to Blair. 45 from goal. Blair the hand pass back to Elliott. Now he's got a bit of room. He blazes for goal. It swings back. Terrific goal. This late at the 11-minute mark could just about be the sealer. The Pies by 14.
Well, they worked that back well, didn't they? Under pressure, good frontal pressure from the Essendon defence. Had the numbers quick, shooting quick hand balls back. A couple of terrific ones and a good shot in the finish to take a little bit of pressure off Collingwood by that goal.
They had the numbers at the front of that pack there, Collingwood, so the ball was going to spill forward of that contest. Collingwood were always going to outnumber Essendon, and it was just a matter of they could work the football and get it to the open man, which they were able to do. Now, Elliott's played a lot further away from goal today, so he's only kicked the one goal, where in the past I've seen him virtually play as a full forward, so today he's worked right up the field.
Collingwood by 14 points. Ryder wins the tap. Heppel the footy in the middle, but he's dispossessed. Pendlebury gives it to Thomas inside the 50. Missed the target coming out in White or Cloak. Landed between them. Gathered by Ashby, who's taken to ground by Cloak. And that's where it ends. 30 out from the Collingwood goal. There it shall be balled up. Ruckman trying to get to it. White went third man up. Hibbard's kick was virtually smothered. Thomas in the pack, toes it out toward goal. Courtney Dempsey runs onto it, needs a sure foot and has it this time to Fletcher across the face of goal. Out to Hooker and on to Hibbard from the defensive 50. He squares it off well for Zach Merritt. Kick into the middle, had to be good, was. Hurley takes the mark. He turns and looks down the line, and he's seen well. Howlett marks unopposed, feeds a hand pass to Carlisle. Tooby running down. Carlisle releases it backwards. Side bottom caught by Chapman. They trap it forward, but Carlisle cannot take a trick.
Said 2 goals for the asking and has been ripped to the turf both times.
It was like slow motion, that play with Carlisle. You could see Tooby was always going to tackle him.
Thrown up. Close enough to goal here for the Bombers. Comes out the back door to Thomas. Grundy puts the hand pass out in front. Langdon round the corner to centre wing. But the mark's taken by Hurley. His hand pass, a half volley to Heppel. Back to Hurley. Draws a man. Over the top he goes. Merritt. Well, he was closed down by Elliott. And the ball goes out of bounds at half forward for the Bombers.
On the boot, get it in long there. Give your forwards a chance.
Margin 14 points in favour of the Pies. The 13.5-minute mark of the last quarter. The throw in. Ruckman grapple. Give it to Grundy. Comes down to Watson, who's buried in a tackle. Umpire Ray Chamberlain comes in and calls the stoppage. 10-9-69 Collingwood. Essendon 8-7-55.
14 points the difference. Free kick. Essendon's way. Ray Chamberlain does a lot of signalling before he gives you an idea which way he's pointing. Ryder gets it. He kicks to full forward. Winderlick's down there. He's in the chop. He should have marked. He got rid of Langdon. It fell out of his hands. Langdon, risky hand pass. Side bottom has to punch it through for a behind. And the margin is 13 points.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of games with rushed behinds this year. By my reckoning, that's the first of the game. Side bottom to kick in for the Pies. Goes for plenty of distance. No mark. Rode by Dempsey. Hand pass once again at the feet of his teammate Stanton. Made it tough. Good gather though. Terrific mark by Melksham. Wide out about 45 metres from goal. He plays on past the man on the mark. Goes for the narrow angle shot. And that's a mark as well. Close to the behind post of Winderlick. Well, he's got no angle to goal. Punt road end.
See, the first one, he missed Howlett, wasn't it? Howlett in the middle on his own. He could have come out in front of goal and made this twice as easy.
One step out, hooks back too far. A behind. Essendon 8-9-57, trailing Collingwood 10-9-69. 2 straight kicks the difference.
And they need this one now.
Let's squeeze them. Got to squeeze them here.
They need this one now. Push up, boys, and hold this one in.
Narrowly Meadows.
Fair to say the Pies are down to 2 on the boundary. Clinton Young has played no part in this last quarter and he just shook his head. They're trying feverishly to work on his lower right leg, but he's just not right.
Pendlebury plays onto himself, gets the kick away in the nick of time. White was the target, Hibbard the spoiler. Gathered well by Elliott, who keeps it in the field of play and gathers 50 metres in his endeavours. Now, Witts was wrestling with Fletcher. It had to be a free kick to Fletcher. Essendon have taken the advantage. Bagley to Dempsey. The kick's a good one. Right to the logo on the wing. Howlett marks, breaks, gives it to Stanton. Goes for Carlisle. He's worked underneath by Frost. Chapman running up at it. Feeds it out the back. Zaharakis knows an Anzac Day goal. He spies to the square. Getting back and doing a good job was Keith. Gets both hands on it. Pushes it through for a conceded score. The margin is 11 points.
Collingwood bring it out. Through Lumumba. And the short pass to Tooby. 16.5 played last quarter. They're really one-sided, these Anzac Day games. It looked like being one-sided in the first quarter, Essendon's way. Then the Pies hit back. It was definitely one-sided in the second quarter. And since then, it's been a real arm wrestle.
If they get them on their bike, if they are, as Nerily said, too short, I mean, that does count in a game like this. They can run them real hard.
The crowd just posted at 91,000 and something.
I think it was 731.
I looked up too late, but 91,000, terrific crowd. Stanton clears from the congestion near the wing. Chapman in the same direction as the ball. Takes the mark, puts the hand pass too far out of Watson. Watson couldn't gather. Some of the hand passing by both teams hasn't been good for their teammates. And here come the Pies on the rebound. The ball in the middle of the ground. Ball, and coming the other way, Bagley. A collision. Essendon have it. Cleared by Hibbert out wide. It goes to Gleeson. His kick inside the 50. Merritt takes the mark. Merritt Senior.
I realise why you're saying this quarter was full of Merritts. I just realised there were two of them.
The best line of the day.
Fancy being a Merritt Senior. He's 21, this fella. His brother is 18.
I do remember the other nasty bloke who played with Essendon.
Oh, yeah. Roger the Dodger. Jackson Merritt for his second in the last quarter. What a beautiful kick. Oh, it's hit the post. Hit the right-hand goal post. It looked the goods all the way. Margin 10. Pies aren't safe yet by any stretch.
They've burnt some chances here, Essendon. But there's still 8 minutes of time to play. Long kick in. Good mark by White. That's to get it to half-back. But it's far too early to go into a conservative mode. He kicks up beyond the middle. Witts and Fletcher. Hibbert's the third man in. He made the spoil. There's no way through that pack. And it'll be need to be balled up. Ashby was having a look to see if he could get through. And he was stopped in his tracks real quick. At the ball up, Carlisle tried to flip it to open space. Collingwood had it covered. Beams to ball, pushing the back on Beams. The advantage is paid. Thomas to Swan inside the 50. Cloak sets himself against Hooker. Has front position. Hooker made the spoil. Hibbert under the pack. Ran into the tackle of Goldsack. And he balled up 25 out from the Collingwood goal.
Cloak's heading for his fourth goalless game of the season. Well, there is a chance here for the Pies. Thrown up right in front of goal. Ryder wins. Shark by ball of the Pies. Away to Beams. Pulled up his kick. Swan gathers. Hooks the goal. That's 4. Sometimes Dane Swan looks as though he doesn't care much about the result of a game. But by gee, he does.
Oh, he cares. He's a competitive animal, Dane Swan. There's no doubt about that. He's really willed himself in this game. He started extremely slow with a lot of the Collingwood midfield, but the third quarter, he goes and kicks 2 goals, 2 really good goals, and that's his 4th now for the game. He's up to 24 possessions and 4 goals too for this game. So again, Collingwood are getting a number of goals through their midfield. Sidebottom 3 and Swan 4, and that's allowing Cloak to have these goalless games because they're finding goals from elsewhere.
It's reset the margin at 16 points. Essendon had done a lot of work, and that shapes as a really deflating goal. Out of the middle, Heppel to Dempsey to Hurley at half-back. His kick is a poor one around the wing. Swan is favoured by it. It bounces away from him out towards and over the boundary. Narrowly.
Is definitely over, it appears. He's getting the ice strap to that lower right leg. So his day over. Of course, Alex Fasolo as well has a moon boot on the right foot, which is the same foot as that navicular injury, which really ruined his season.
We've ticked into time onto the final term. Heppel got it from the stoppage, delivered long inside the 50. Danaher was moved out of position by Frost, and it opened the way for the defence. Taken by Thomas, who has a bounce. Kicks around the members' wing. McCaffrey's outnumbered, but he holds the footy up. In fact, he gathers it and turns out of trouble. He kicks down the wing. Side bottom, it got through his fingers. Bagley for the Dons. Gives it to Fletcher. High ball down the wing. Chapman goes with the flight. Goldsack the other way. Didn't mark. Winderlick gives a hand pass to Ashby. Kick the centre half forward. Marked by Danaher. He is within his range. He's 55 out. He launches it to the goal front. It's on a good line. It cleared them, pitched on its point and came back into the field of play. I guess that's the sort of last quarter it's been for Essendon. Langdon on the way out.
Hasn't cleared the area though. Stanton does well. Now loses it to Swan.
They've done really well, Stanton.
Oh, super effort.
Ryder gathers, tried to hand pass to Stanton, but the ball goes out of bounds. Gee, players from both sides reaching for the oxygen tank. Collingwood 75, Essendon 59. Still about 5 minutes to go in the game. Taken off the pack here by Howlett for the Bombers. He kicks to the goal square, and Elliott sees it through for a rush behind. Only just. He's a little bloke. He jumped in the air to gather that bouncing ball and tap it through.
Wonderful effort when you talked about him going back, Stanton, and really got the mark, and then got killed in the hit, recovered immediately to bounce back up and have another go. Incredibly good effort.
Collingwood by 15. Pendlebury played on. Long kick, touched off the boot. Play on's the signal. McCaffer gets it. Kicks in a hurry around the members' wing. He does what he was hoping. Turns right and goes out of play.
A great lesson, I think, in body size for both Ashby and Gleeson. McCaffer there now on 2 occasions. He's just been stronger than him physically. Those guys a couple of more years in the gym and they'll be able to win that contest.
And the stoppage on the wing. It's desperate stuff. Howlett hands it to Watson. Gives it to Ryder. Out the back now to Stanton. Tried to push his way clear. Couldn't get clear of Keefe. Dempsey onto the spillage. Gave it to Bagley. Kick for Winderlick. It bounces in front of him and he fumbles. Goldsack works him off it. Hand pass out the back and he's got support. Langdon to Lumumba. He slips the tackle of Zach Merritt and gives it out the side to Beams. The Collingwood defence holds strong and the kick is for Grundy on the wing.
Young Brodie Grundy, the ruckman, goes with a short pass forward to the centre wing and the kick inside 50 to Cloak, who marks 40 metres from goal, and you could hear the roar of the crowd as finally got hold of one.
Nathan Buckley will be absolutely ecstatic with Tom Langdon's game today. He's had 22 possessions as a halfback flanker, only into his 6th game of AFL football. He has been so steady for them.
Cloak from 50 metres for his first goal of the day. Can't give it to him. It's away to the left-hand side. His score is 3 behinds and 1 out of bounds. He came into this game having kicked 6 goals, 7 for the season. Goalless 3 times. He might be goalless 4 times.
Collingwood by 16. Melksham marks the kick in. Not a good ball down the line though. Elliott pulls it in for the Pies. 24 and a half minutes played of this final term. Elliott goes inside the 50. Hibbert had to make the spoil over Beams. It's all about the crumb. Knocked to the side by Blair. Onto it comes Witts. He went really hard at it. Hand pass for Lumumba, who can seal it. His snap is out to the right. And the Social Club must resume its seats. Collingwood by 17 points.
I'm watching for Swanee because he has kicked 5 goals in a game, only once in 224 previous matches. He's sitting on 4 at the moment, and there's time left. Ball's in the centre square. It's Essendon's ball. Gouged out here by Ashby. Now Heppel has it. In between half-back and wing. Short pass over the top. Works well. And the mark's taken here by Jackson Merritt. To Heppel, who kicks out of bounds on the full. Looking for Danaher at half-forward. Gee, the efficiency for the Bombers is back to 68%. They started the game well and have just got worse the further the game has gone. Nerily?
Ross looks to be struggling at the moment, but I believe it's just cramp. Of course, they are down on the interchange with just 2 men.
Beams up beyond halfway and Cloak imposes himself with a strong mark. He looks to get it on quickly. He's gone long in the white direction, sets himself to jump. Hibbert not for the first time making a spoil, and he follows up with the next one. Banged it out toward the boundary. Hurley keeps it in the field of play. It was a daring play. He works it down the line and over. At right half forward for Collingwood.
Look at this game as it's worn on. It's become a really contested style of football. 3 players at Essendon are really missing today. Goddard, Hocking and David Myers.
At the throw in, Ryder across the front. Hoping for Melksham, it didn't come off. Witts toes it forward. Ashby against Thomas. They slide in. Ashby got taken high. No free kick. Buried on the spot. Will be balled up. 55 out from the Collingwood goal.
Hocking probably would have got Pendlebury.
No doubt. Yeah. Oh, look, I think Melksham's done a reasonable job.
Particularly at the start.
Hello, the fans are starting to feel confident. The chant of Collingwood goes up around the MCG. They figure, we've got the score on the board and time's run out. Side bottoms comes back to Lumumba. He takes them on and gets caught by Watson. And then a kick forward goes out of bounds on the full. And it's an Essendon free kick. They trail by 17 points. I suppose there's time left to kick 3 goals. The kick up towards centre wing. Collingwood have the numbers. Ball takes it off hands to Pendlebury. Wide to side bottom. Side bottom, half distance ball. And the mark taken by Witts. And he can use up a bit of clock here. Kick by Witts. This result didn't look likely when Essendon kicked the first 7 goals of the game. What a mark that's by Grundy. Quite shouldn't be playing in the ruck at his age. 20 years old, playing just his 13th game.
Best young potential in terms of a ruckman at his experience that I've seen for a long time.
I just hope he doesn't get worn out at his age. He just really, because he's such a talent.
Brodie Grundy from the paint of 50 or a step outside. Oh. Not a bad kick, son. That is a beautiful goal. Oh, that's the absolute sealer for Collingwood, and they come from all points of the compass to say, well done, Brogues.
Yeah, that's terrific, and that's a great response. And I hadn't thought it from that point of view, but I think you're right. It's the kid's body still very athletic. You take a mark like that, he goes back and kicks a prodigious goal. This is at the end of the game when he's basically been their number 1 ruckman for the whole, for the first 4 or 5 games and most of the day-to-day too.
I think this shows so much maturity, this game from Collingwood. 6 goals to 0 to start this game. And now to be able to do what they've done in the last 3 quarters of this game. They're a real force this year, Collingwood. They're not going under the radar anymore.
12-11 to 8-12. 23 points is Collingwood's lead late in the day. Grundy gives away the free kick to Ryder.
He does that too often.
Ryder looks to play on. Grundy tackles him. He got his kick away out to the side for Gleeson, who'll pop the Bombers inside the 50. Carlisle, at last, he's taken a mark and a pack. I doubt it'll be enough to save him in the long run.
The coach has proved himself right. Kept him there all day and he's finally taken a pack mark.
I think he'll probably get sent back next week to find a bit of confidence and a bit of form.
Particularly if Bell Chambers comes up.
Jake Carlisle, 50 out from goal. Right foot drop punt is out on the full.
That seals it.
Yes. It'll be go and put it back together and we'll see better days from Jake Carlisle.
Closing seconds of the game. Lumumba kicks in. Swan gets in front and marks at half-back.
There's a couple in the conversation for the Anzac Day medal.
I think the crowd just gave their vote. The kick up towards centre wing. Cloak in the middle. Can't take the mark. He's had a horrible day. There's the siren. Collingwood win after a slow start. They win by 23 after trailing at one stage by 37. Final score, Collingwood 12-11, 83 have defeated Essendon 8-12-60 in front of 91,731. They trailed by 37 at the 2-minute mark of the second quarter and then ran away to win by 23 points. In another big day, Anzac Day at the MCG. Sing along around the country, you Pies fans.
They know how to play the game.
11th win in the 20 matches that have been played on Anzac Day between the two. A draw in there as well, but they have drawn away from Essendon. What a way to do it. Who's in the conversation for the medal here, Emma?
I think, look, side bottom definitely for me. 3 goals in that second quarter really got them up and running. Obviously, Dane Swan with his 4 goals. Dane Beans went right under the radar today, had 32 possessions. Brent Stanton, I thought, had a terrific day for Essendon. 32 possessions and a goal. I think those are the 3 that are really in the conversation.
All right, let's head onto the ground and find out. It's Dane Swan. His 4 goals snuck away from his teammates at the end to claim the Anzac medal.
First of all, Essendon, we know it's an absolute honour to play on this day and to play youths every year. It's very special, and thanks for putting up for us today. It's another great contest. We're just a little lucky to come out with a win. And to everyone here, we know it's such a privilege and honour to play on this day. It's something we never forget, and we hold close to our hearts. So to everyone who fought for us and held for our country, thank you very much, and have a good one.
Well done. It's his second Anzac medal. He won it in 2012. And he does so again in 2014.
The performance of the Essendon Football Club, who were gallant in defeat today. Would you now please welcome Scott Pendlebury and Nathan Buckley to receive the Anzac Day trophy from David McLaughlin. This is a perpetual trophy provided by the RSL in dedication to the memory of those footballers who served in times of war. The names of VFL footballers known to have sacrificed their lives during active service are inscribed on the trophy. Scotty.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank the crowd, both team supporters. It's a great turnout every year, so I appreciate you getting out. To Essendon, bad luck. I thought the game was played great spirits, really hotly contested, so well done and good luck for the rest of the year. And to our boys, well done, well fought out, and thank you.
Scott Pendlebury's words, Collingwood victorious by 23 points. And now Nathan Buckley.
First, I'd like to thank all the fans for coming out. It's obviously a fantastic day, a day where we celebrate how fortunate we are to be living the lives we live in the country that we live in. Thanks for Essendon for a fantastic contest, came out of the blocks early and really tested us. Thought we showed a lot of ticker as a club today, and it's another opportunity to grow for us. And congratulations to the AFL to have been able to put this together. It's a great day and we look forward to continuing it and being a part of it for a long time to come. Thank you.
Well, they trailed by 31 points at quarter time. Scores were level at half time. Collingwood by 18 at three-quarter time and 23 at the end. 12-11, 83 Collingwood over Essendon, 8-12, 60.